Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Trackmania. This time on a different channel, but still we have two, familiar faces, but one face that we have seen for not, of course, three with you, Eirik, but one face that we haven't seen too long in this podcast is actually Eirik. Hello, hello, and nice seeing you here. How are you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm good. It's nice to be back on the sort of Trackmania show I created. I don't know when, but it's nice to see something in Trackmania actually running, even though the guy behind it is not involved anymore. Because I think overall that's a problem in Trackmania. If someone creates something and gets sick of it or don't have motivation for it, it dies out. But now we have changed it out. I mean, neither of you were here when it started, but now you are here. Scott is not here, so I guess everybody has been changed out, and for me, that's a good sign that Checkmania is established enough now to have profiles speaking on a podcast and not only me speaking or not only Paul speaking. So it's a pleasure to be back, of course. And hopefully Paul will be away more so I can step in more times.
Yeah, maybe even an episode as four people, we could also do that. I mean, the more the merrier, maybe. That could be also good. But yeah, it's nice to see you back. I kind of stepped in when Geeko was stepping down from the
Yep.
podcast in like episode 6, 7, 8, and I'm still there, and I feel like still being the newcomer. And then you stopped off, and then we got Toby, which is also a very nice addition to that. But yeah, I hope you're all doing great. As I'm a bit ill, but guys, look at this. I don't have my cast anymore, but I have a lot of pain in my arm. But hey, I'm doing great. I was just laying around in bed for the last 2 days. But Toby, how are you doing? Besides your internet being a bit weird today.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually even my internet or not. Already speaking about internet, let's be honest, my week was so and so. Like half of the week was probably complete garbage. I don't know, nothing seemed to go right. Even like then Team FL as well, the Team FL race, it was probably my best Team FL race this season. Like I felt confident on the map. I felt good. I was fast. Then I get a disconnect. Great. That was a great day. No, but the last two
True.
days were really good. I won 2 cup of the days, in the last couple of days. I'm finally back to like some form, at least in Trackmania. That's as usual. Let's just not talk about my studies. That's just the normal thing, It's just it's not going forward. But no, I'm doing great, I'm doing actually good now. Recently, or at least like the last couple of days, and I'm delighted to hear that your arm is going like maybe not feeling better right now in this situation, but at least it's going forward. Like it's going somewhere, even if it's painful and slowly. just the way it is, I guess, right?
Yeah, it is what it is. They just pulled out the wires here, and that's why there's
Ah.
like no bone in there on this part, and that's why it's hurting. And also, my muscles were not really used when I cannot do those movements. I have
Oh,
no idea how to do that.
I remember when I like once I broke my little finger, and it also was cast away for like a month
Mm.
or two, and then they tell you, yeah, just try to move it at the first day and stuff like that, and you're like, huh, I don't see an issue with that. Then you try to move it, and it just doesn't move, and you're like, oh,
Yeah, same
it's
here.
gonna
Like
be interesting for you.
when I try to sleep, and then I lift up my hand, and it's like this is hurting already, because I don't have muscles in there. Oh, that was not good,
Yeah.
actually. That was not good. Oh shit. Okay, but never mind. I have an appointment tomorrow. They're gonna say how my rehabilitation will go, but everything will be good. I know that. It's of course swollen, but the surgery was yesterday. But anyway, let's not talk about my health and everything. Let's talk about the real deal about Trackmania here. 2021, only 1.5 months left of the year. And it was kind of a huge year for Trackmania, let's say it like that. Not really on the tournament side, but for the exposure for Trackmania. That was at least my perception of it. What was your perception of it? How did Trackmania go for you this year, guys?
Maybe that before we start with that, something that maybe I should have like tried to like do that better in the beginning. But first of all, Eirik, thank you for being here. I'm also very happy to have a talk with you after quite a while. I don't know, we didn't see each other also for I think over 2 years now as well. So
Correct.
it's nice. It's like this situation is actually awesome because I'm obviously the new guy in this podcast, and you're basically the OG. So I'm really interested in how this is going to turn out. And yeah, That's basically what I wanted to like say at the
I
beginning.
can just
because
say that-
it felt so awkward. Like I just yeah. So you're here now, and yeah,
Yeah, he's
not
here
even
now.
saying hi. It's just
Hello.
no.
But
No.
surely today we are friends, not enemies, like in Prague when we competed in bowling. So it's gonna be a pleasure.
Completely hungover, Eirik.
I mean, even hangover, even broken, I'm still the best in bowling. So
162 points, I think.
something like that.
That's
too
a good
bad.
question. How much it was? Yeah, but
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. But yeah, I mean, of course, thank you for being here, not being useless. Yeah, being
Not yet, at least.
No, I'm just kidding. Of course, it's only a friendly banter. But yeah, I mean, maybe back to the. Now we complete out of the concept here. 2021. Yeah, that's what was our topic. It's weird for me to be a show host. I have to say that it feels a bit awkward, but we get that out of the way. What was your impression of that year? It was a huge year for Trackmania.
Oh, you want to ask me first, or should I?
Yeah,
let,
go ahead. Like,
okay.
just put your thoughts in. If you
2021 is the best year for Trackmania ever. If you want to have a headline, if any news articles want to write about it, that's the headline. It's the best year ever for Trackmania. Even though we haven't had any offline events, it's still the year where Trackmania has progressed the most. It's the year where Ubisoft Ontario has listened the most. It's the year where our own profiles in the Trackmania community has grown the most. But of course, like this podcast has spoken a lot about before, and which was a topic even when I was back at this podcast, there are still huge rooms for improvement. But even though there are huge room for improvements, let's not forget how much Trackmania actually have improved over the last sort of couple of months, or rather the last 12 months. So I'm positive, even though you sort of get sort of in this Trackmania Grand League bubble that it seems like everything is burning down, everything is going to shit. But overall, for 2021, it's a great year, and I want to, as a guy who has maybe been the most vocal against Ubisoft Ontario, I want to say that this is the best year, at least since I joined. From there, they have created matchmaking. I believe they have at least tried to change the point system for the better. They have shown that they listen. They have created the Trackmania Grand League World Cup. So that is overall great. And of course, yourself, Turbo, you have felt the growth for in the Trackmania community. Of course, with the help of Virtual, who is our sort of front leader, who is creating waves, and everybody else is benefiting from that. So overall, I'm really, really positive for 2021.
Yeah, I mean, if we just take a look 1 year at this time, we didn't have matchmaking, we didn't have Royal. I think a couple of the days were just starting. And I cannot agree more with you in this point. They are really listening to the community. They're trying to improve. And I'm looking for what comes next, maybe even in the next couple of days, months, what they're gonna implement into the game. They're listening to that. Of course, there's still some issues. Maybe a couple of the days not working. But you know, we take it with humor. Things like that, they can happen and they will happen in the future. It is inevitable gonna happen. And I also agree with that. I think with Virtual, we have someone who is also giving back to the community. You see him when he ends the stream, every time rating someone new, giving back, you know, giving those people exposure from the Trackmania scene who are also in there for a long time. So it's really good to have that. Of course, there were some downsides with the drama, but even those things gave Trackmania a lot of exposure. On the other hand, of course, it's always hard to find the positive things out of that, but still, the drama was also a good thing. But of course, you know, losing people towards that was also bad. But I think also for me, as exposure, it was the best year ever. I mean, last year, Trackmania hardly had any views. We were in a little bit of a dip again, and Trackmania is just going up and being consistent, even though not a lot of players or people are actually playing Trackmania. Mostly are just enjoying to watch it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is wrong with that, but yeah, I also can't really add anything to that because you basically said exactly what there is to say. It's also it's nice to phrase it like that because often I think if you actually listen to our podcast every single week, it often sounds like we're just shitting on Nadeo every single week, just shitting on it. Oh yeah, Team GL is still bad. Oh yeah, this and that, and it's difficult because it's not like we're trying to do that forcibly, but yeah, it's definitely is the best year for Trackmania, and even if we criticize for Nadeo a lot of things throughout the podcast and throughout the year, even there, Nadeo never has been as vocal has been as interactive with the community as this year. Nadio really is doing its best as improving themselves, and obviously there are still things going wrong, right? I mean, you can't expect somebody or Nadio to change overnight and be instantly perfect, and probably never will be, because nothing is going to be perfect ever. But you know what I mean. You can see the improvement on Nadio's side. You can see that they listen, and you can see that they're trying out with TMJL, even if the new point system, from our point of view, mostly is not the greatest. It was a great idea, and they listen, they try new things, and they are looking for a good solution. They're doing their best job. And I mean, we already talked so much about how good in terms of viewership the new game is, and how things are just accelerating to a point where we don't really know where it's gonna end up. And yeah, like this year, in terms of Trackmania, this year was awesome.
Yeah.
But just a takeaway, because once I joined Trackmania, it became clear that the players' motivation was to meet up at ESWC. It was to meet up at Gamers Assembly. Now we had so long without a Trackmania LAN event, and still we haven't had any big players saying that, okay, I'll actually leave. So now we have something else than just these LAN events where you can meet people that made them stick around, even though it feels like some of these players are living on the edge and felt like they have lived on the edge for like 2 years. They are still here, at least for the most part. So I guess overall, Corona has shown that Trackmania is not as fragile as I thought it would be. I would maybe have said that Corona, no LAN events would have killed the competitive scene of Trackmania, but I think at the end of it, we are coming out of this as a stronger group, as a more compact group, and we show that there is more than just a LAN event. Now we have stuff happening every single day in Trackmania. Cup of the Day is the best thing that has happened to Trackmania. So
Yep.
the new game is helping Trackmania. Couple of days helping Trackmania, and also having everything online seems to have some benefits, at least. Even though, of course, I want to travel as much as possible in 2022 and meet the Trackmania community, because that's the part I miss about this situation.
Yeah,
that I'm
it
in.
was the best part, to be honest.
Yeah.
Also from my point of view, like nothing was as good as that. Gamers assemblies, meetups, whatever
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, the best memories I have were the memories in Prague. Of course, that was not a LAN event, but meeting the people from Trackmania, you know, the Radio Cup, even though I didn't understand anything from that guy standing on top there and commentating. It was just, you know, it was 40 degrees in that in that place. It was so warm, but you meet all the Trackmania people, you know, and just having a good time, being together, eating something, meeting those people, talking, you know, just the fact that also the players and yeah, they're not even fans. I mean, just the players are so close together. I mean, take it here. There was the final of the Zerator Cup, and Roland and Spam went to our place to watch it with us instead of just watching it behind. You know, that is just how close the community is together. But of course, now we have the situation that we have a lot of newcomers as well. And a lot of people that, in my opinion, are a little bit on the verge. You could have seen Tween, for example, struggling a bit. Of course, now he's redeeming himself, which is really, really nice. I'm super happy for that.
I'm so happy, yeah.
I'm so happy for him, like getting such a good step and also getting second place in Gamers Assembly Halloween edition just behind Barbos. That was absolutely nice. And
of course, Tween would get second.
But okay, yeah, that's a different story. But you know, it's like old school versus new school now, and I'm so hyped for next year. There will be a LAN event, maybe even a Gamers Assembly LAN, to see how the old players like Otak, Feed, like all those new tech drivers or versatile players will play against those old school players. That will be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, just to put it in perspective, at last time there was like I believe a LAN event for Gwen. It was the Zerator Cup 2019. So there has been sort of the rise of Gwen since there was a LAN event possible for him to attend. He didn't join Lyon, which he could have attended, but I mean, just that, to see how world's best player, or at least arguably one of the world's best player, Gwen, how will he look at the LAN event? How will he sort of think about it? Because for the last 2 years, the last memory for him at the LAN event was him going out in a semi-final and being broken backstage. So I'm curious to see how he will look once he comes to a LAN event, and hopefully he will not have any school, so he don't have an excuse about okay, I didn't have time.
Or he's not allowed to play or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
he was. I think he had holidays or something, and you could have seen it on step 4. This guy was I don't know what he has done. Like his warm up was incredible. He was just annihilating everyone. It was incredible how he was playing. So Gwen for me has the biggest potential, but he's like, yeah, okay, let's just play. Let's see. Maybe I'm gonna play some Trackmania Nations Kaki today, or I'm just gonna practice for I don't know for Trackmania Grand League. It's like whatever he likes to do. But I think he also does not have that time. But we can expect a lot from this guy. He still is not on his limit, I think.
You know, it's not really a bad idea to just do whatever you want. I mean, if he's just playing Trackmania itself is already some sort of practice, you know, and just always training is also a little bit boring, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I mean, especially if you have like limited time, then you want to think through how to spend the time. And yeah, I don't know. I probably would do it kind of similar, maybe myself. It's understandable, you know. Like he's with his age, you wouldn't just spend. I mean, technically, let's be honest. Technically, if you would want to, even with school, you would have the time to practice. Maybe let's say 2 to 3 or even more hours a day for TMGL.
That's more than enough.
Yeah, that's more than enough. You could definitely do that, but let's be honest. And that it just is it worth it though? That's the question. And yeah, but now that the holidays, he basically just showed what he's capable of.
I mean, there's one worrying thing and one worrying development maybe in Trackmania. It's kind of 2020, for example, we always had player like Aurel or also occasionally other Trackmania Grand League players showing up in smaller events. And also we had Carl Jr. and Pack playing at least the Gamers Assembly or the tech tournaments with, not like 4-digit prize pool, maybe like the Centauri event, which had, I think, a winning prize pool of €600. And you don't really see them around too much. They're only showing up for the main event, and also it seems that Carl Jr. is not really. That's my thesis right now. Maybe we can discuss about that a little bit. Maybe that's just my point of view. It's not really that motivated anymore right now. He is tied up with Bren for P11, I think, in the Trackmania Grand League. I think both having only 285 points or 385 points, something like that. And it's sad to see that the greatest of all time, which is Carl Jr., and also Bren being a super fast player, are both down there. And maybe, of course, Bren is still streaming, but Carl Jr., I'm a bit worried about him, if he will come back or not. I think
100%. This is the least motivated Carl Jr. we have seen, and he is also one of the players that is vocal before the season, after step 1, about the format overall not being a benefit for him. He says it doesn't matter how much you train because it's going to be random on map 5. And if you go into a mentality like that, then of course you're going to not be motivated if you don't think you are in control of what's happening. So I think it's going to make playoff, and I think if he makes playoffs, then it's going to be a different Carl Jr. But for a season, I don't see anything changing. I don't see him turning around and being like super motivated. Maybe step 8, if he's still below top 8, then he's going to put in some effort. But I guess he's going to, for the future of Trackmania, I think he's going to care less and less about, like you said, the smaller events. And at what point does that smaller event even become Trackmania Grand League? At what point does he only care about the World Cup and Serrator Cup, etc.? So I guess that's just a continued trend for most of the pro players, because most of the pro players have something else going inside or at the life. Like Pack is a job, Carl Jr. is taking a master degree, Kappa is studying, so they always have something parallel going on in their life. And the older you get, the more serious life gets. So, and the less you can focus on a hobby, quote unquote. So, I don't think that is going to change. And so maybe it's good that they don't play the smaller events, because then OTAC, for example, or any other upcoming players have a platform to prove themselves. And then you have a storyline that once they qualify into a big league, how are they going to perform against the best? So you don't have 12 months of them getting wrecked by Orel at all the smaller events, because then you know what the storyline is going to be. So I actually think it's maybe a good thing that the sort of upcoming players have their own platform to battle against themselves and then eventually step into the big league.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I mean, I was also talking to Pack, he's working as an accountant and he hardly has any time. And he was saying, yeah, I practiced the new map for like 3 hours and then I just occasionally play the maps for
Yeah.
20 minutes. And look how he's performing. So, like, what the players or what the new players are in need of is that experience, what a Pack, what a Calginia brings with. And that's what they get with those smaller events. Because a player like Pack and also Calginia, they have proven themselves and they will also perform in the next 2 to 3 years, even though they're getting older. People say the reflexes are getting less, but hey, even a player like Tween, who I was really like critical about when he joined the Trackmania Grand League, if he is, because he was also only coming from a tech environment, how he will adapt to the new game, to the multi-style environment and stuff like that. But of course, he has shown that he can still do it, because he has this mindset of a professional player. He can learn those things, and it is just good to see that those players can just translate it, even though they maybe were not that good beforehand on those kind of things.
The other thing is, you're speaking about getting older and reflexes getting worse, but Trackmania is not really a game where you need reflexes at
Muscle
all.
memory.
Like, it's just muscle memory at the most. But I mean, maybe on some maps you have like last minute adjustments depending on some certain jumps or stuff like that. Sure, it can happen, but for most part, it's just muscle memory and just being no dived on the maps. It's just you know your car. It doesn't really matter if you're a little bit. You don't like, what are you reacting to? You're reacting to the track, and it's not like the turn is coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? So definitely, yeah, just
Maybe with the moving blocks
it's
now.
definitely a game like like that. Even if Trackmania is top tier esports, like let's assume Trackmania would be as big as League of Legends or CS:GO. Trackmania would still be a game where you can very well compete even with higher age compared to like other games at least.
Yep. I agree with that. But yeah, I mean, is there anything that you guys would like to talk about? I mean, we have talked about Trackmania Grand League excessively over the last couple of podcasts. I think we can just leave that aside today. I mean, it's just getting more and more into the direction of the players will come and step 6, 7, and 8 will come. But I think we can talk about that next week. Let's talk about the real deal here. Let's talk about what 2022 will bring us, because this guy that we have invited today, actually, this bit of a fun story, because I was texting you, I think, when was it, on Tuesday?
Yeah, we were
Yo,
talking about at after the podcast. We were thinking about,
yeah,
okay, well, he's
who
not.
can we?
We can actually. I mean, at the beginning, we were actually thinking, okay, yeah, we can actually bring somebody in, and then we were talking about, okay, who would we bring in?
And then we asked you, and then next day you were talking about the new and big thing. It was such a great coincidence. Yeah. Is it pronounced Meløy
Meløy.
2020?
Meløy.
Meløy. Okay,
Yeah,
Meløy.
sure, close enough.
Melo.
Meløy. Okay,
With
Meløy
a
20.
Y at the end. Meløy. E.
Meløy.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Meløy. So like the O is Ö.
Yeah,
Meløy.
it's a it's a
Okay.
Norwegian letter with a
Okay.
O with a cross in it or a slash in it.
Yeah, it was a great coincidence, but maybe let's just talk about that. I mean,
Sure.
in general, like of course now it feels more of an interview, but
Yeah, but let's not get an interview. But I guess if you want the main details, we can have
Yeah.
that and then maybe discuss overall 2022 because I like being part of a podcast. I don't like maybe doing the interviews myself because this is more like a discussion platform, right?
yeah, exactly. That's why I also didn't want to do that. But like with those things, I think Trackmania in 2022 is looking very bright. We will have World Cup, Zerator Cup. I think also Gamers Assembly LAN will be there, and then the Meløy LAN event
Yeah.
in 2022 with a 50,000 euro prize pool. It will be banging. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, I can just overall say about why I created it. It's in February I was looking or sitting home in a small place. We are 2,000 people here, and I was just feeling how can I help out the community here, not the Trackmania community. And then I said, okay, I also want to help the Trackmania community. So how can I help the Trackmania community and my local community? I realized my local community has really strong companies with a lot of money. They want to reach the youth. I know Trackmania want big events where the players actually get some cash prize from it, but they also want to go outside of France. And I said, okay, then what stops me? What stops me from bringing those two things together and creating something? I thought it was a ridiculous idea, but ever since that idea was presented to people who is working with people who want to establish something. They say this is really good. We don't understand it, but let's help you. And since then, it's just the ball has been rolling and rolling and rolling. And now I have enough people behind me to say that it's publicly going to be an event. But it's just to give back to the Trackmania community. It's not to myself to get some recognition, because I already have enough recognition in Trackmania for me to be satisfied with it. But it's to give the players who are at the top level, who have given me, you guys, some entertainment for the last 10 years, a reason to stay around in Trackmania so we can enjoy them for longer. So they don't only travel to Paris, so they don't only travel to France, but now can actually travel outside France. I know you guys are hoping to get them to Germany. That will also be a great step, because then we show that Trackmania is bigger than France. We show that it's more. If you become the best player, you can have more experience, and that's the overall thing. So I hope this makes the top players stay around. I hope this makes profile stick around. So I guess that's the main motive in Trackmania, at least for me, to make people have a reason to stick around. And I am not the one to judge if that reason is good enough, because I'm behind it, so I'm gonna be not the right guy to ask about it. But I guess you guys could maybe tell if an event like that could make people stick around too. I mean, how has the event been received from you guys? Because everybody who is DMing me has something in the back of their mind. If I'm positive with Eirik, maybe I can get invited to the event. So everybody's going to be positive when saying it to me. So I guess overall, how is the feedback from you guys? Is anybody speaking about it, or was it on Wednesday and then everybody forgot about it?
No, everyone forgot about it. No one will come.
Exactly.
No one will come to that event. But yeah, I mean, the first thing I was like, my first impression, maybe Toby and me can go through that one by one, was like, this is not gonna happen. That was my first that was my first impression, because Trackmania with 50,000 euro, I was like, no, this is not gonna happen. just my first impression.
You're not the only one, because everybody thinks I'm putting out the $50,000. I'm not putting out a single dollar myself.
Make you rich?
I'm not
500,000 kroners. There we go.
I'm not putting the money. The company's behind is putting the money. So I understand, of course, that people are skeptical. I have not hosted a big event like that before. But what I can say is that I am having a education in organization management, also in tourism. So this is actually what I'm studying. This is actually what I can. Being a journalist is just something I sort of bumped into because nobody else did.
The multi-talent Eirik Holdal. Hello.
Talent, journalist.
Yeah, well, I was about to say
good at
that.
drinking Cuba Libre, but also can be a journalist. Hello. No, but yeah, well, then afterwards I was just reading through the article and was like, yeah, this is looking quite serious. And then I think on Thursday it was, with the post and all of the things, like where you were like like very seriously like presenting your concept and stuff, like just in front of a lot of people, like people who looked very serious. I was like, okay, yeah, well, this is not looking too bad. And more and more I also like compared it with what I wanted to do in like in Germany, like, because I think that a LAN event would be great, of course, not with a price pool of 50,000, but how much power people have. And I think it will work out, and I hope it will work out, because this will like put the Trackmania community together again. I mean, you could have felt the spirit in Prague, and this times 100, this will be the case, because everyone from the Trackmania community who's able to come will come there. It will be incredible, and I'm already looking forward to that. And I think that's what everyone has in their back of the mind, even if they're playing or just watching or whatever. It will be a banging event, and probably the highlight of Trackmania next year.
I mean, Serrator Cup, let's not forget about it. 50,000 people. I'm not 15,000 people. That's 3 times as much people who live in a radius of 100 kilometers here. So it's not going to be 50,000 people in
the thing is,
the area.
The thing is, it is 15,000 people. Of course, you know some of them, but I think in on your event, or the event that you are partly organizing, it will be the core of the Trackmania scene.
I understand.
I think that's and I think that's like something else. Of course, it's still cool to see 50,000 or 15,000 people in there, but I think it's something else. and this tournament, and also like seeing the nature, like being bound to the journalists of Trackmania, discovering the environment and stuff. It's something else. You cannot compare that really. And for me, it will be the highlight, even though I will probably attend both things.
Yeah.
If you're a player there and you just lose your match and you're out of the tournament, nothing is going to refresh your mentality as well as just going outside, taking a deep breath of that fresh Norway air, just looking at the mountains,
and then screaming and no one hears you.
A lot of people.
Yes, sort of leak here that I haven't been asked about in any interview or I haven't posted it on any social media. Is that, of course, everybody knows it's going to be 16 players. Everybody knows that it's going to be $50,000 for a prize pool. I mean, what I can say is that I don't think enough players get rewarded in Trackmania. We normally have just the top players, either the podium or the grand finalists. What I can say is that all the 16 players in this event will be paid. So if you just come here, you have that in the back of your mind. Okay, I can relax because I'm getting some payout. I can enjoy being here and I can enjoy competing. So you don't have that money situation like, oh, I need to make it, else I'm going to be broke.
Yeah.
So everybody will get some financial return from
That's
it.
actually pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah, so it's again a way of giving back to the Trackmania community, because there is a meme. I mean, Massa placing fifth at the World Cup, getting $0. So yeah.
But yeah, that's the good thing. That's what we also did in the German Trackmania Cup, that the top 6 is getting money out of that. So the losers of the consolidation final at least go out with, I think, €50 or €100, something like that. And I think that is just fair, because people are just working their ass off. And then at the end, I think, like, what did I watch? It was ESWC 2015, I think. I think it was nothing for the 4th position or something like that. And it was like incredible. Like, imagine you play and then there's a double final situation for last position or for 3rd place, and then it's for 1,000 or nothing. Or I think it was 1,000, but still for 5th. What is 5th place then? It's like incredible. It's wow.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, since Kai already said how he felt when he read about the event. So obviously, you've been posting and hinting about that you're doing something.
I've been teasing.
I don't know how, like, half a year.
Since February, yeah.
True, yeah.
At the very beginning, I mean, I know you definitely, like, I knew that you're capable, but obviously you're like, what is this gonna be? Is this gonna be like maybe something like the German Trackmania Cup at some point, like maybe a couple thousands, maybe even more, and you just have no idea what's gonna come, right? And at the beginning, I was like, yeah, that's gonna be maybe an interesting small event, and then just you kept on going and going, and the time span just got larger, and I'm like, why is it taking so long? What is he doing? So I wasn't doubting it when you released it, but I was like, holy shit, fuck, that's so much money.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the money is what I say to the partners as well, is that the money is big, but for esport it's small. But what if you put this prize pool at top of a Trackmania event, you're gonna get the headlines, you're gonna get international media writing about it, national media, and all the headlines that is written about this event is that it's a cash prize. But the cash prize isn't the biggest thing about it. Is that the players who come here is gonna experience something. They're gonna tell their kids when they get older that, okay, I was playing in Norway. I didn't only see our airport. I didn't only see the playing hall. I actually walked on Norway's 2nd biggest glacier. I even fished directly from the sea. So it's to give memories back when you also play. Because again, $50,000 is a lot. It's too much for me to put in, but it's a small in a bigger picture. So hopefully this will just be a success, and then $50,000 next year, maybe 2 times a year. So the vision is bigger for the future, but of course I need to perform. The event need to perform before you say that I'm going to do this full time. So, and like Cam said, Carl Jr. is of course going to try fishing. So
fishing the money or fishing fish?
I mean, both. Maybe fishing the fish and then selling it for money.
Because he didn't get the 20K for first, right? Hello. No, but
it's so nice, actually. Like, let's be honest. I mean, obviously the cash prize is big, and obviously that's also something that we always talked about, that Trackmania is now going towards, like, getting bigger and bigger, but we don't really see any big events happening right now, because even something like the Gamers Assembly, and it's nice to see that they kept on having these online tournaments, but the prize pool for the online tournaments is basically like minimal. And even before, yes, Gamers Assembly was very prestigious, and I would always go there every single year if I could. But it's not like the money is really worth it, you know. Even if it's like I think it was maybe 1K for the first place, and that sounds maybe to like if you're young that sounds like a lot, but actually it actually isn't if you consider the travel costs and everything. And it's once a year, like that's nothing basically.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to Gamers Assembly and was like, yeah, I'm here to win. I'm full here. Like, what you want to go like drink 1 or 2 beers in the evening? Nah, mate, I have a match tomorrow in the morning. I have to be fully prepared. Like, it's nothing like that, you know. I mean, that's the great thing about Trackmania, obviously at one end, but on the other hand, if you want Trackmania to grow as an esports, that's not really what you're looking for, right? You're looking for something with a big cash prize, even though of course it's not always about the money, but it's something that it's nice that you like created basically this because as you said, 50,000 euros for esports tournaments, you know, that's not that much money.
Yep.
If you compare it, obviously, okay, you have to make it in proportion, but even compared to similar sized games of Trackmania, it's still something that's reasonable. It's not like outrageously much. It's you
Yep.
know, that's why I'm really happy about that. Just in general having it, because that's something that Trackmania always was lacking, like these opportunities to see, because we always say, yeah, Trackmania has so much potential and somebody just has to draw it out. And now at least we have like the first event that is at least trying to show the potential. And if it doesn't work out, then maybe Trackmania didn't have the potential. But you know, now at least somebody is trying to utilize the potential that we at least all agree and think that is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. The thing is, in Trackmania, and also Cam was mentioning that already, it's like players are not playing for the money. Of course, with a 50K tournament, it will be something different. But let's just take a look onto the Raider Cup, 2021 euro in prize pool, and then I think 1,000 for first divided by 3, so 300 euro for, or 333 euro for first. That is like, it's nothing. Players are not doing that, and maybe with an established event after that, maybe Trackmania becomes more lucrative, and also for a player to do it full time, maybe for the next generation of Trackmania, that Trackmania really grows again. But maybe also other organizers are stepping in, and people are saying, oh yeah, Trackmania is a good event. Maybe they're watching because it's a lot of skill involved in that event. A lot of people want to show that they are the best. Maybe they want to dethrone a player like Carl Jr. And I think it's just a win-win situation. It's worth trying it out. And then we're going to go from there. Of course, there is, yeah, it's hard to establish an event, but why shouldn't you try it out? Because Trackmania is definitely in dire need of those kind of events. Because, of course, there's Trackmania World Cup and Trackmania Grand League, but, well, yeah, it's a show and not
it's a show. Let's like that's also what you said. You know, nothing is wrong with TMGL the way it is. It's fine. You know, but the thing that this is like the tournament you have to show people for as the biggest event in Trackmania is just what's sitting wrong in my mind. That's just not really working out for me, because it's a show. And it's fine that's a show, but it doesn't really make sense as the biggest event happening. That's not what a show shouldn't be the biggest thing this game is. This game is tailored towards esports since the very beginning. Why is the biggest event a show? And that's what I was always like sad about, you know, like nothing is wrong with having a show. Of course it's interesting. You see people talking about TMGL. You see a lot of viewers also enjoying TMGL, you know, and it's fine. Of course it's an enjoyable event. Also I enjoy it watching, but it's not the fairest thing in the world, and it doesn't have to be. And if it's just an event that exists by Nadeo and is like sitting there reasonably in its place, and then you have a couple of big shots event like your event now,
like
if
majors.
You have a couple of those,
Yeah.
like a couple of majors, then everything is cool for me. They can do whatever point system in the Team GL as long as it's exciting to watch. I'm gonna enjoy that shit. That's cool for me. But you know, but the thing is that Team GL right now is the biggest stage in Trackmania, and I don't like that the show is the biggest stage. It's definitely, it certainly has its place in Trackmania, but it shouldn't be the biggest stage.
Yeah, I guess you could say overall that Trackmania Grand League is not the problem. The Trackmania Grand League's problem is that
Yeah.
it's the only thing. Like the Serrator Cup problem, ever since he joined, was not Serrator Cup itself. It was that he hosted a cup in a small community where his cup became the biggest thing.
Yes.
So neither of those cups are a problem, but they become a problem because they are a biggest thing, and the pro players want some big things to compete for. And when the biggest thing, of course, is a show, then of course there's going to be conflict of interest. But what I
Yep.
just wanted to say is that I am the only guy behind this project. I'm a small guy from the Trackmania community. I just started out with an idea, asked some local people, hey, can you listen to this idea? And they say, okay, let's see if this is possible. Let's help you on the way. And every single meeting from there has been people who wants to help me. So the good thing about Trackmania is that it's a small game, because then if you want investors, if you want partners, the risk for them is smaller than if you are, let's say, up and coming guy in CS:GO who wants to create something, because then you need to put $20 million in the prize pot for it, or in the budget for everything to run smooth. So if anybody else have an idea, just see if it's possible for it to happen, because I still don't know if it's going to be successful. I still don't know if I'm going to be like a meme in August of 2022, but at least I'm trying. I'm trying my best to help Checkmania, and even though I don't succeed, maybe it can give motivation to others to succeed, because they see that it's possible and they maybe think that they can do it better. So the Trackmania community is the most passionate, at least I have experienced, but I only experienced one Trackmania or gaming community. So I think there is a lot of people out there with good ideas, and it's just to test it out if they can, if you try, if you dare, because at the moment it's all about taking that risk. And to be honest, I'm taking a huge risk here. I could have been a guy who just sit on Twitter to complain, but now I want to try to give something back to the Trackmania community.
Well, I'm sort of being known for complaining as well, so I definitely know the feeling of not wanting to be the guy that only complains.
But
Yeah, it's actually nice.
but it's a good mindset, you know. Get rich or die trying mentality there. I mean, it's not only a good album from 50 Cent, but also a very good mindset in general to just like try out something, you know. That's what I did with the reverse cup mode, you know.
Yep.
That's what I did with the reverse cup mode. I hope that the tournament's gonna use that, but maybe. No, of course, I'm only joking, of course. We don't know anything about that, but you know, you have to try out those things before you can learn from it. That we had to done some tricks, and all of a sudden it was virtual using this format. I was honored, really. I was honored that my idea was like being implemented by people, and there's so many people behind that. You know, I was asking them, oh, yo, can we test that out? You know, Jenga, and then it was I had a lot of help from the TMFL stuff that they're gonna just try to do it. You know, they tested it, they just scripted it. It's like there's so many people behind that, and also like in general the Trackmania community being super passionate. Let's just take a look onto Trackmania, the German Trackmania Cup, for example. How much money we funded there. The community is so strong, and I really like it that it's working out like that, and it has a lot of potential. And that's why I think that also next year we're gonna see more events, more local events, also LAN events. You know, I definitely want to make something happen, but of course there's a lot of time involved in that, and of course you have to kind of minimize the risk in that. You know, by just saying, okay, we know cash price, we're just gonna meet up, everyone has to pay, and maybe there's a tournament where like the top 5 is gonna win the entry to that thing. I don't know, but you know, you have to not take so many risks, but also the Trackmania community is about or will just help. And if you like want to fund something, they're just gonna times 10 that, you know, they're just gonna blow your expectations.
But can I ask you guys something? Since this
No?
is more about not an interview, but more about the discussion itself. There is one thing that has been, some people has said it is correct, some people have said it's good, is that it's already publicly out there that I have invited Carl Jr. Carl Jr. doesn't need to qualify, and that there is an invited player to an event. Do you think that that's a problem, that there is one invited or more invited players? I can even be so selfish to say that I can pick the 16 players I want and say that everybody is invited. But of course, I already said that there will be open qualifier. But there is already information out there that one guy is invited. Do you think that that sends maybe a bad signal to everybody that he just picks a guy instead of he having to perform to show what he's capable of. And actually, like Granati, everybody said that he needed to qualify in a correct way, but now Carl Jr. doesn't need to qualify. He can just sit back and wait for August.
He is the greatest of all time. So, I mean, if he wants to, he could play. He would be the first person to qualify. I tell you that. I tell you how it is.
I
It
think
doesn't matter.
the way Milmi phrased it with Carl deserving it because of his backstory makes probably a lot of sense. Like his backstory basically makes it that nobody can say, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, let's be honest, obviously it depends, at some point if you like, for example, like do it with TMGSC and you choose all the players, then at some point it's gonna get into the debate where is it justified? Is this player maybe better than that one? Then that's all that's a difficult situation then. But if it's somebody like Carl Jr. and maybe like 2 or 3 more out of 16 players where they always have a backstory where nobody can disagree with, then what is there to disagree with, right? I think
Will
that's
there
how
be
you
more
have to.
invitations?
I can say that there is
I
likely
mean,
going to be more invitational players, but that will not be something I
Chem.
think about before 2022. I mean, Chem cannot be invited as a player, then there is a meme tournament. But I mean, like I said, I want this to have like a foundation in the Trackmania community. So of course, I'm gonna eventually ask people in the Trackmania community for help, and they're gonna get some financial return. But the thing why I said Carl Jr. is invited is so I can say to again the partners who is putting the risk out there that hey, he
Yep.
is the greatest of all time. He is
Yep.
the defending world champion. And look how positive he is about this tournament. Because every organizers behind the project themselves is going to be positive about the project. I'm here to sell my project. So they're of course I'm gonna of course use the big words. I'm of course gonna be positive. But if you have someone who back it up, and of course the best player of all time to back it up, then it's easier for them to say, okay, let's join this project. Let's see how it is. Because in all articles or all interviews I've done, I said, talk to Carl Jr. if you want like a valid reason for this, because I'm here to sell my event.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
such a good argumentation, actually saying, okay, I have Carl Jr. behind me, he's supporting that, and he is only playing those events that really matter to him. And
Yep.
yeah, definitely, I 100% agree with that. He would qualify anyway. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter. Carl Jr. is the greatest of all time. And if there are like more people behind that, with valid explanations, maybe a player like Pack, for example, I mean,
Yep.
we don't know that, or maybe even Granadi or Gwen, I
Yep.
don't know who will be invited, but I think more than 4 would be a bit too much, but 4 players would be the perfect fit for me.
I mean, I can just say in February I had 16 players I wanted to invite, but since then I have thought more about why do I host this event, and why I host it is to the Trackmania community to show that there is hope. And if I say that okay, 16 players is gonna be invited, nobody else has a chance.
Yeah.
Then you
Yeah.
sort of say that okay, there is this sort of elitist group of players that is going to be picked for every event instead of everybody having a chance to compete. And once it was finalized that the prize pool is going to be the biggest in the history, how ridiculous would it be to say that okay, you don't have a chance to compete for biggest prize pool in the history of the game? So for every day that goes, I lean more away from having the slots about invited players. That of course I have an idea about who I want to invite and how many I want to invite, but until that is finalized, I'm not going to say it publicly how many. But I can just say that for every day that goes or every week that goes, that numbers goes down, and it's going to be more to the qualifiers. Because again, if the best players are the best players, they're going to qualify, and I guess we all can agree that there is a skill gap involved. So if they are the best, they're going to qualify.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I think you like back to the actual question. Still, I mean, obviously you're still thinking about inviting certain players, and I think just the way you also just spoke about it already shows that you have already put enough thought into it. That no matter what you're currently thinking about and going forward, I don't think you have to change any of that. I think you're already going into the perfect direction with the thought process, and I don't really think you're gonna make a wrong decision with what you're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
I see a question in chat, and that is also a question I have gotten after pretty much every article. I believe I had said it in every interview that this event is going to be open for spectators. I'm going to open it for every Trackmania fan to come. I'm going to mainly host this event to show the youth here who grow up in a small fishing village that, hey, you can also experience some esport events here. It's going to be the biggest in Norway, at least in terms of cash prize. So if you are a Trackmania fan, you know that there is a potential to come here. But I believe the area where it's hosted has a rule of no more than 1,000 people there. You could say that that's little, but then again, we are 2,000 people living here, so it's hard to fill it out. But this can be one of those times where you can fill it out. So if you're a fan of Trackmania, if you want to experience Norway, you can already start to think about saving up, because it's far north. It's a far travel. I myself use 20 hours to travel to Strasbourg. So if you want to come here, you need to be dedicated. But at least I know that you will get
Gonna
something
go by car.
back.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, if you go by car, it's a long drive, a long
You're just
drive.
picking up, I don't know, Dunster in
Yeah.
Denmark, this guy there, and then my car is full all of a sudden. I don't know.
And yeah,
That would be great.
via Bodø Airport, because 2 hours away from where I live, there is a
Let me
town
check.
of 50,000 people. And that for us is like New York City. That is huge. It's but still 50,000 people. So that's where you have to go if you want to travel by plane. And if you travel by car, you can drive all the way here. But it's above the Arctic Circle. So, I mean, expect, even if it's August, take some warm clothes with you. So
Let me check how long that is from Düsseldorf.
He's already checking it.
Yeah, of course.
probably 3,000, like that, 4,000 maybe.
No, like how many hours is that? But okay, it takes some time to load. But I just want to check how many hours I have to travel. You know,
Yeah.
with by flying, not by going with car.
Okay,
Because
flying
Hey.
is probably Germany, Oslo, Bodø, and then from Bodø is public transport. So it's not that difficult.
Ooh,
It's just that you have to
5
wait
hours.
some hours. Yeah, but you have to wait once you come to Bodø probably to get a bus, to get a boat. So
800.
Meløy is an island, but it's also the area of where it's
That's so
located.
expensive.
So like New York City is in New York, Meløy is in Meløy, but yeah, we are not going to be at the island itself.
Yeah, but that's super expensive. 800 for.
Yeah. Welcome to Norway, man.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. And then alcohol as well.
Yeah, welcome to Norway.
Nah, but I'm not drinking anyway, so
I mean, the after party is what I'm looking forward to. When I can say everything I have to think about is over, now I can take a Cuba Libre Halo.
Yeah, but of course I'm gonna drink 1 or 2 Cuba Libre, but this will be the most expensive thing ever then.
I can fix something.
Okay.
Nice. I'm ready. Let's be honest. I'm already ready for whatever's gonna go down there. I have no idea how and in which position I'm gonna be there, but I'm probably definitely gonna be there either way.
Yeah. I mean, I will definitely go. Either it's, I don't care how much money it is. If it's 2,000, 1,000, okay, maybe not 5,000.
I mean, we
I
can
would just
basically
rent a
all travel
car.
together, right?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean,
We-
you live in a city with an airport, so that's
yeah,
fine,
we're
right?
probably gonna fly from the Düsseldorf airport anyway.
Yeah.
So
And that's
everyone
like
has to
1
go
hour
here.
for me.
Yeah.
That's very good.
But yeah,
Pretty good
I
time.
guess overall for 2022, I don't want this to just turn into a Q&A. I see a lot of questions, but
Yeah.
overall, I posted today that the summer of 2022 is the Serrator Cup in the biggest venue Trackmania has ever been at, hopefully this year. And then we have Trackmania Grand League World Cup. SoftB said something about, okay, it's 3 years since I hosted the World Cup. It's going to be nice with some LAN events again. Maybe World Cup is going to be in an offline venue. And then you have my event in an offline venue. So maybe the summer is going to have June, Serrator Cup, July, the World Cup, and then August, my cup. So you have like a period of time where it's just bang, bang, bang. And hopefully that will be good, because Serrator Cup is first. It's going to be the event that recruits most fans. But then they already know that, okay, World Cup is coming up. Carl Juniors is talking so much about the World Cup. And after World Cup, they have the pro players talking about my cup. So you have this constant thing happening that maybe makes it easier for a Trackmania fan to stick around in Trackmania and not only be a fan of Serrator Cup.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's gonna be easier to follow what's happening.
Yeah. I mean,
But
maybe then.
what will be the most prestigious event? Is it the Serrator Cup, or is it the World Cup, or is it my cup?
Well, it's your cup, obviously. Already.
Cup.
Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
why?
I don't.
It's not
Yeah.
a World Championship.
Yeah.
It's not Serrator Cup in front of
okay,
15,000
It
people.
has a
Okay.
different spirit, though.
let's be honest. I think the Ryder Cup is already out of the picture because the Ryder Cup is something special, and it's not about the esports aspect of the game in general. That's like the Raider is doing the cup for himself. Obviously, nothing's wrong with that. But you can see with the maps and stuff like that, they're also a little bit gimmicky, like TMGL maps tend to be as well. But yeah, the World Cup itself also is very prestigious, so that's gonna be difficult. I guess it's something that's hard to know in the beginning. It's gonna massively depend on how also your event turns out, because you can talk a lot about how you imagine things to be, but having it realized and not having some issues here and there, it's gonna be hard to see. It's hard to judge. It's hard for us to realize to say that, because we obviously wanted to succeed so hard and we wanted to be the best event we ever attended to, but you never know. And then that's if you're gonna talk about what's gonna be the most prestigious event, then we don't know yet. It's nothing to say for sure it's gonna be your event, for sure it's gonna be the World Cup, but yeah, I mean, isn't that nice to have this, to even have to think about that? I mean, that isn't that awesome? I think that's great.
I think it depends on the player as well. I think if I ask Gwen what he want to win, he's gonna say it's the Rater Cup. But if I ask Carl Jr., I think he's gonna more lean towards maybe a World Cup, or maybe Kappa is gonna try to become the second player to win a world title for more than 2 times. So I think it's going to depend, and that is again a good discussion to have. So it's not only that one event that everybody agrees on, and hopefully in 2023 we have even more events that we can argue about and to build around. Because once this Trackmania game hopefully blows up, it's going to attract more events. I don't remember what the event was. It was in CS:GO. Was some rumors about it. They posted it themselves. Masa told me about it.
Was that like some months ago?
Blast tournament, Blast Premier League, Blast, something like that. And if they come in, then you of course have something like that. You have Trackmania Grand League, of course. So now Trackmania, what has been more like a casual game, I would say, since it was released in July 1st, now is becoming more and more of an esport that this game is all built around. Because you cannot say it's an esport event without having, or an esport game without having the esport event. So now it finally comes to show what this game really is. It's created for esport, is to be an esport, and hopefully all stars align. Hopefully I will succeed, because I'm a Trackmania fan. Even though I get offered to host other games, I will still have the love of Trackmania in my mind. So I will continue just to build on that success to host Trackmania events, and even to maybe host Trackmania events other places, in Norway, maybe in other places outside of Europe, because this format is to take Trackmania and to promote where the Trackmania event is hosted at. And all regions want to promote their own region. So this can be something that more than my village wants to host.
Imagine in my village a Trackmania tournament. That would be like, what the hell? People will come here like, hello, and I'm like, you want to eat a Jupschale?
What do you mean in your location? My location is where we have to do it. That's living the fucking nobody in Saxony-Anhalt.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Fucking East Germany.
So I think just to get on that, you were talking about the different players, and I think I cannot agree more with that, because for a French person, it would make more sense that the Trackmania, the Raider Cup is more important for a player like Gwen, because they get the exposure. They have the Frenchies there. They play in front of 15,000 people. We have seen really the less interest of the English community. Maybe it will be there again when there is a LAN event again. I mean, we had like a bit of a LAN event this year at this Raider Cup, but next year it will be absolutely huge. I think a lot of players will participate in there, because it will be probably the biggest LAN event ever. That will be also with viewers and stuff like that. And yeah, then also World Cup. But it's like going bang, bang, bang. And you have 3 very good events. If I was, let's say I was Carl Jr., I couldn't decide what to play. Of course, he's capable of winning all 3 of them, but he, of course, puts more energy into one of them. And I think it will be probably like World Cup. And I don't think that, like, just after thinking more and more, it's like not that your event is about to win it, it's about to attend it. Yeah, and that's something else. Of course, it's not his goal to maybe just smash everyone. He of course puts effort in, and he will probably get into the final, but he also will enjoy the time there, and that's the most important thing.
If
But
if I
also,
want, if I just add, if I want this to be the most prestigious tournament, if I want Carl Jr. to say that I need to win that, I can say, okay, 40,000 to the winner, and then 5,000 to second. So I can use the cash prize to do it. But again, I made it clear earlier that everybody's going to get paid. So, like you said, I think he's coming here to enjoy it. But yeah, continue.
yeah, I think so as well. And with that, I think Trackmania is really going to go from a more. We have seen a lot of good casual things this year being implemented: matchmaking, royal, also the other improvements, new physics, new blocks, this and that. And also, now we're going to go into the competitive side of Trackmania. Of course, we have Trackmania Grand League, which is a show which was also their goal of hosting this kind of event. Yeah, with those 16 streams, new influencers, new casts, and stuff like that. But now Trackmania is kind of on the roll to maybe get an esports event or like an esports title here, which it was the idea of ESWC back then. And this could be very cool because this could not only attract sponsors for the other events, but also sponsors for the main event for Trackmania Grand League itself, that this event is also growing. It will be like a domino effect if everything works out, and this will be just huge for the game. And also for the exposure in general. If, of course, everything works out, that is, of course, a very, very dreamy mindset, but you can always dream. And I'm looking with a smile already onto 2022, and it will be a great year. Also with Gamers Assembly coming back, LAN events, and then hopefully something will happen here in Germany as well, just to develop the community.
Yeah.
One thing is for sure, there's definitely no big Trackmania tournament without something going wrong in the finals. So like some PC maybe disconnecting, or gamepad not working, something of that sort. But we are used to that. We already expect that. So that's something I've already
Spectating bug, like in
spectating
Cup
bug.
2020.
Oh, that was so weird, that bug. But honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe. I mean, somebody yesterday in Cup of the Day yesterday, somebody couldn't drive randomly. He could chat. He
Wasn't
couldn't
it
even.
Rattenjunge?
Yeah, he couldn't even give up. He was just standing there at the beginning chatting, "Yo, what the fuck is happening? I can't drive my car."
But we are used to that. Actually, we are definitely used to that. But yeah, it just puts me in a very good mood thinking about those things that are happening. Just considering how the year already went in Trackmania, like, can it even get better? And now lands are returning, and those things. I hope that everything will work with pandemics and stuff like that, that everything will hold.
Yeah, it's nice to see that Trackmania is in general just spiraling upwards. Like there's no idea where it's gonna go, but it's just nice to see that it's just continuing the upwards trend, which already started with the release of the new game. It started slowly and it's just picking up pace, and there's no sort of telling where we are gonna end up in 1 or 2 years. And I like that a lot. I have no idea in what way I'm gonna be involved in general in Trackmania in maybe 1 or 2 years. I have no real plans made or anything like that. But it's just nice to like. Of course, I did a lot of things in this game myself. I played, I hosted in events. I really enjoy mapping lately, maybe more than I should. Looking at
When is
certain
NMD coming back? Hello.
Maybe for the cup. Maybe for the cup. Hello.
Maybe, why not? Depends, No, but definitely Trackmania has a special kind of place in my heart, no matter where I'm gonna end up. And it's just this sort of mentality, and I think that's also what Trackmania is about. Since I think a lot of Trackmania players can agree with that. It's actually it's interesting how many people always come back to Trackmania. You have so many people that just always basically don't play and say, yeah, I'm gonna quit. And 1 or 2 months later, they are back, and also a couple of people. Yeah, well, I'm already like I mean, Muda is just one example, but when I saw that he's gonna stop playing Trackmania, he even like made an announcement about it. I'm like, yeah, sure, of course you're gonna stop Trackmania, as if you can. I don't know, but that's how I imagine it, at least.
Yeah, and
Even
everyone.
somebody like Tamarillo is back, like he's having children now, and he's playing again occasionally when he finds time. It's just nice that Trackmania is this kind of game,
And everyone is so like how you say that, so hardcore about the game. Everyone is so passionate and want this game to succeed. Everyone is like,
yeah.
dude, go out with their forks and their like lighters and like, oh come on, let's riot Trackmania, make it big again.
It's both the
everyone
good and the bad side of Trackmania at
Yeah.
the same time, because
Yep.
some people sometimes also, I think Nadio is obviously always on the receiving end of that, but Nadio saying that the community can be negative is phrasing it in a bad way. Saying that the community is really passionate is just the better way of phrasing it. But you can see it, right? Like Cup of the Day doesn't work for like 2 days over the weekend, which is what is Nadeo going to do about that? Do you expect Nadeo, a studio that in that kind of size, to like just work over the weekend now and fix it, or what? I mean, it's so rare that it happens. Cup of the Day is basically working almost every single day, so it not working a
happens.
couple of times is no big issue. But you can see people are so passionate about that, instantly saying stuff, and yeah, they are not always phrasing it in the best way possible. But you can see it just shows, that everyone that plays Trackmania is super passionate about it. Everyone has an opinion about TMGL, whether they like it or not. Everyone has an opinion, and it's sometimes it's a bit annoying because you have to obviously deal with that. But it's good that it's like that, because at least you have people that are outspoken about what they think, and you can work with that, right? You can work with that at least. It's better than just a community that just lets the game die out because they don't really care about the game anymore or stuff like that. And instead of voicing their opinions about something they dislike, they just stop playing.
Yeah.
Because that's the other option you would have in this kind of scenario sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Salty B said congratulations to me once I launched my project, and in the comment section it was like, "Yeah, he's doing what Nadeo was doing." So there is some people that always take the opportunity to say that something is great. Nadeo was doing something bad. So
Yeah,
I mean,
Twitter is a
yeah,
minefield.
Yeah, Twitter in general is not the place to
Toxic.
yeah.
Also with the Maji thing, for example, as she was announced. Oh, dude, that was the worst.
yeah.
Like,
I tried to announce it, and it was a shitfest.
oh my god, like
Um,
Jesus Christ, and also Derek getting it wrong what you
Yep.
said, and oh my god, man, that was it.
Luckily, I don't get the what do you say. I don't care about that sort of stuff. But I guess if there was another guy behind that, I mean, you could say, okay, I'm not gonna try to help Trackmania anymore. I'm not gonna try to help Ubisoft Ondeo anymore. But I mean, it was just it created attention. Everybody at least now know that Margie is casting Trackmania grandly.
yeah,
And
and
she's doing a great
good
job, though. Yeah, I think so as well. No, really,
Next-
I really, you can really feel that she is passionate about the game. She's really improving, and also her cast. Of course, it's not like as a professional caster or anything or whatever, but she tries to really get themselves that in. And yeah, Mimi, I'm just gonna time you out real quick. And there you go. Goodbye,
Aw,
Mimi.
couldn't see what you wrote.
Nah, I don't care, but this guy just, I don't know, whatever.
I just wanted to see what you wrote, though.
Yeah,
But,
nothing.
I
He was
slow.
only provocative, but also seeing his Twitter and rooms that he has created against Maji. It's like, just get mature, Milmi, and stop memeing around.
But if we are to sort of recap 2021 like we did in the start, we are getting to a point now where if there is a Trackmania Awards, they should start to announce that they are having a Trackmania Awards. I created that as well, and it's been running without my help last year. So I hope it's gonna continue to run. Because again, it's good to have debate about it, even though you can agree or disagree about something. I have had some vocal opinions about it. Some people have strongly disagree with my vocal opinions because I have a different view than someone else. But I really hope Trackmania Awards will be hosted this
True,
year,
yeah.
and I guess maybe Turbo is the correct one to ask if there is anything in works, because you were one of the key guys
Yeah.
for it taking place last year. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, true. I mean, I was putting in a lot of effort
Yeah.
I was like in 3 or 4 categories and also helping some others around writing the text, but I actually haven't heard something about it. It was starting like, I think, end of November, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to have something like that back. I mean, also, I don't see a player or a person like Laos, who was, I think, involved in that too much, or like,
Yeah, it was a leader last year.
yeah. I don't know. It's like, wow, I have no clue if if this is gonna happen, but it would be cool.
Time
It
for
would be
Turbo to step
nice.
up.
It would probably be nice, but maybe doing it not in the grand scheme of it, how it usually was. It's just so much effort. Let's be honest. I also agree that it's cool to have, but you don't get enough recognition on the receiving end, and you also, I mean, now you have a lot more things that happen in Trackmania, so a lot of, but it felt like it's. I mean, I've also been a judge for 2 years, or
Yeah.
was it one? I don't know. I think for 2 years.
You
yeah.
were one of the
And
key guys in the start, yeah.
and it's so much work, and people just shit on whatever you did anyway.
Yeah.
It's like
Aurel Player of the Year.
Yeah,
Wait,
that
what-
was my point. I still stand behind it, but like Shorty says, like maybe Turbo also say, and like I said when I was doing it, is no matter how hard work you do, no matter how much thought you think into it, there is gonna be some vocal guys that being like they shit the bed here, and it's like 27 categories, and it's one category being like bad, and then everybody talks about that one specific bad
Yeah.
category.
Dude, the
I'm
worst
being
one
one of
is
them.
movie of the year. Everyone thinks that they have the best movie.
Oh.
And then, how can my movie not be the best one? I'm not even nominated. I'm like, dude, oh, Jesus Christ. Or skin of the year, like
Yeah,
things that
people
are so
passionate.
subjective.
I mean, skin of the year is. I don't even know if I was involved with that, but in general, those super subjective categories are like, yeah, whatever you're gonna do, it's just gonna be wrong anyway. And no matter how you're gonna try to justify something, it's like Cam says, for example, why have those categories?
Yeah,
That's
maybe a
basically what
rewind
I
would
would
be
do.
good.
I would just
Yeah.
remove these kind of categories because they don't make sense and people are just gonna be butthurt about them anyway. Like skin of the year, movie of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, just not gonna bother with those categories then.
Like Holdal Trackmania Awards, 9 categories instead of fucking 30 categories.
Yeah, for example, you know.
And then I can just have the honor of saying this guy won. If you don't disagree, well, fuck you.
It's my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to be objective. You can, to some extent, be subjective, even though I tried my
Yeah.
best to have the numbers backing it up. But in the end, it's going to be my opinion. So I don't know if I'm going to do that sort of thing. I can maybe challenge the Let's Talk Trackmania guys to have maybe something like that, to maybe your own awards where you maybe have 5 categories to pick the most important, like player of the year, event of the year, maybe moment of the year. Because then you can have a debate, like a podcast, and
Yeah,
the people who
actually not a
win
bad
is going to
idea.
say thanks, Shorty, instead of saying, okay, Turbo has no idea. So
I have no idea anyway.
I mean, you have, but in the end, there's going to be so many different passionate opinion in Trackmania that even since I started Trackmania Awards in 2016, the overall feeling I had after each and every year was that people were displeased, and the people who won couldn't really say it loudly that they won because people said that it's undeserved, sort of in a indirect manner. So I don't know if that's solvable. That's why I pulled out of Trackmania Awards, because I couldn't find a solution to how can it actually get so objective that the people who win can say 100% that they win. And
No.
for the categories like you mentioned, Shorty, like skin of the year, movie of the year, I think it's almost impossible to say objectively that someone wins correctly. It's just a popularity contest, like many people have said.
Yeah.
True, yeah. Also, like,
content creator of the year, Cam.
I mean, also
That was
like
a meme,
with the like, I mean, of course, I wasn't caster of the year, and
Yeah.
for me, my whole goal also this year is to just be nominated. You
Yeah.
know, it's just to get recognition that I was casting. But then, of course, I can understand why people are saying Trilux caster of the year. I can see why people are saying virtual or
Yeah.
even medic. But that's like a complete different opinion that I have. So just getting that across, you know, finding a middle ground is almost impossible. And
Okay.
that's why I would not take those awards serious at all. Like, of course, it's cool, but hey.
One thing I just remember that, and I'm just remembering that makes me so annoyed already again.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that, but I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago in the old game when I finally won my first cup of the day after cup of the
TTC,
day.
yeah.
When I won my first TTC after 3.5 years of trying.
You won.
I won. Never did I win or did I get
You
second?
win. You won surprise of the year.
Yeah, I won surprise of the year. I got second 12 times already in a knockout format. How can that be a surprise? Come on, let's make it moment or whatever, but don't like I was so annoyed that I won surprise of the year with
It was like the
finally-
clearest category of everything, like 70% of the votes. And
It
after
was
that,
just
we
a
removed
meme,
that because
yeah.
it became a
It-
meme award.
Yeah, obviously, but that I don't know. It kind of annoyed me. Let's be honest.
I don't know. I would do like a rewind where I would go through like the things that have happened from the beginning of the year. Let's say it all started with, I don't know, Trackmania Grand League, then Gamers Assembly, then the drama, blah blah blah. Then
Yeah.
mention some movies, some skins, I don't know, stuff like that. And then
Yeah.
at the end mention like maybe who casted some events, who streamed the most, who got the most views on Twitch. I don't know, who gained the most followers, who was coming into the Trackmania scene, stuff like that. I don't know.
But what I can say is that I have been lucky enough to win Community Person of the Year now twice in a row. And if I win an award like that, I'm using that for everything it's worth. I say that to the companies that, okay, the Trackmania community are actually giving me an award. So if you became like Caster of the Year, even though you care more about being nominated, you can say that to a potential future org that, okay, the Trackmania community is behind me. And if you don't win, you say that I'm nominated. I'm nominated for
True.
Caster of the Year. So that was also something why I started it in 2016 to say that if you win it, you have a selling point to the next thing you want to do. You have something to set in stone. You can not only say that, yeah, I'm a respectable community member, like many
Yeah,
people
but
say.
I have it on
Now you
paper,
have
yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying that all the orcs I contacted didn't they would have instantly accepted me if I told them, yeah, I got voted surprise of the year, actually, guys.
yeah.
You have
I
to
got
get me.
recognition.
I got recognition for being the most.
Yeah.
No, that's. But it was actually true though. Like for real. That I mean, obviously, it makes a big difference saying that. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of stuff in the community since years and stuff like that. But when you actually say that you want like these kind of awards, even though of course it's also community members that decide these things. It's a whole different kind of situation if you can state something like that.
Yeah.
Because it shows them that you're not. It basically tells them that yes, you don't only think that you're doing a lot of good work, that the community itself also agrees with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the opening speeches I had in the presentation, that I have been awarded this as the guy who has done the most. I didn't say the game, I said the most in the world. So if I have the opportunity to say that I do something big, I'm gonna use it. And then you have like, oh damn, this guy. Even though they don't know that this is a fucking small game, they don't know that 300 people are voting. For them, it's a whole world. They're like, oh, it's 100 million people voting on this guy. So yeah, if you have an opportunity
You're
to sell
famous.
something, sell it. But I don't think I will do Holdal Awards because I used 1 year to do all the stats. I don't have that stat sheet now. So if I'm gonna sort of recap everything, then I'm gonna use too much time. So that's why I challenged the Let's Talk Trackmania guys to have something like it, because you guys have been involved,
fitting,
or
though.
you guys, rather Turbo and to some extent Shorty, because if you get Scott involved, he's gonna be like, who is Player of the Year? I don't know. What is Event of the Year? I don't know.
Wait, we had events this year?
I mean, maybe to add some other people in, but I think it's like we also did this kind of show, but like just saying, okay, who's cast of the year, who's this, who's that, because if then 3 people just decide, okay, yeah, those people are cool, that's player of the year. It could be nice, but maybe not that recognizable compared to the Trackmania Awards, which is like a voting stuff. I don't know.
It's definitely not as recognizable, but it's still not a bad idea to have that. I think it's something that would be interesting to do and also interesting to probably listen to. It doesn't,
Yeah, exactly. Then you have viewers debating against you, because I'm gonna be here and say if Turbo gives it to Aurel, I'm gonna say, what the fuck, Turbo? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, it's a good thing. You can definitely very well have good discussions about that, right?
Yeah,
And that's
and I suggest that, or I can only think that the 3 of you have different opinions about what should be valued the most.
me and Turbo always agree.
Yeah, always.
Okay.
Always.
That's gonna be a boring podcast.
Yeah. And Paul has no idea. So we should maybe invite some people then. Maybe
Yeah.
someone like SRK or Cam, that they
Yeah,
give us some
someone has a
opinions.
good understanding
we
about
can
the community.
we can invite Marius, but then we have to prepare for an extra long episode.
And he would talk about United and about the tier 10 cups that he's playing.
Just Lars and Marius, that combination is so dead. I don't know how they do that. Like, I'm trying to leave Discord sometimes, and they just keep on talking for like if I wouldn't just barge in, if I wouldn't just barge in, yeah, guys, I'm going now. Within their talking, I would sit there for like at least an hour until they finally have like a small break or stuff like that. I don't know
Yeah.
how to do that. How does that work?
I had that as well. Like, I think I played the 3 AM Cup of the Day. Marius was like, he always writes an in-game chat, yeah, Turbo Discord, and I sometimes don't see that. I just don't see it. And then I was going onto Discord, when I went to bed at 6 in the morning because Marius was talking and talking. I was like also talking, it was good, but then I was like, Marius, I have to go now. And then 1 hour later, and yeah. Well.
Yeah.
But we can have some sort of quick fire about some categories if you guys want, because I assume I will not be here because Paul likes Trackmania Awards too much to be away if you guys host it. So do you have any strong opinions about Player of the Year, for example? Is it called Junior and nobody else, or is there anybody who challenged him this year?
Well, it's kind of how would you I always think, how can you like define someone as player of the year? What influence did he do? Of course, Carl Jr., yeah, he's the greatest of all time, but then of course he didn't really play so many tournaments. So I would like kind of negotiate what is valued the most. We have players like Pack, for example, also okay, yeah, winning Gamers Assembly, I think, or was he second? No, he was first. But then there are other players as well that have really improved. Maybe Mime, for example. But then you have to compare them. It is hard to really do that. And of course, I have an opinion about Carl Jr. that he will be nominated, but not sure if he would win eventually. But
it's a difficult category, I think, especially this year with the way tournaments were run in this new game, TMGL, and then the TMGL players basically not playing any other tournaments at all. Then things like Gamers Assembly, they still were there, but split up in 3 smaller tournaments where the attendance wasn't, or they didn't have that big of a competition for what Gamers Assembly usually would be. At least, it still was a great competition, but it wasn't the way, or it wasn't the way a normal Gamers Assembly would be usually. So I don't know, it's just difficult to really compare the players against each other when you have so many different kind of concepts clashing. It would be difficult to say, because exactly, like, you have a lot of big shots, then you have a lot of people that compete very well in those smaller tournaments, but they never really faced off against each other. So how are you gonna solve that issue? It's gonna be very subjective then.
I think this year is more of the easier ones for me to say Carl Jr. is the best player, because I guess it's widely known that I mainly care about the biggest events, and the biggest events, at least publicly agreed on, is Trackmania World Cup this year, is the Trackmania Grand League playoffs, and then I guess Serrator Cup comes there, and then you have all of these smaller events. And Carl Jr. is the only player who have performed well in all of these 3 tournaments. So world champion, won against Pack in the Trackmania Grand League winter. Played against Kenny, of course, in Serrator Cup, so didn't do too well as a team, but a solo performance there was good. So, but if as a group and then as a jury you are going to agree on something, then you need to go to the foundation about what should you agree on, and then I understand why it's difficult. And again, then it's why people are going to agree about your award, because you're going to have something that everybody agrees on, and nobody's going to agree on everything about what you should value. Like, should you value someone like Granati, who's winning Cup of the Day pretty much every single time he plays, or should you value someone who wins the small or the few but big events? And I'm leaning towards the last thing. So that is also why I host my own shows. I don't have to go through 10 hours of disagreement or discussions before I say, okay, this is my pick. And that is why I say now Carl Jr. would be my pick for that. And event of the year, I would say Trackmania Grand League World Cup would be event of the year. Besides that, I don't have any strong opinions, I guess.
So I would also like pick Carl Jr., then Granadi as well, because he has just improved a lot and also has redeemed himself by being first now at the moment. Scrappy as well, for coming back kind of everywhere and still finding his way. Good performance. And then the last one would either be Gwen or Pack, something like that. So those would be my top 5 players.
Yeah,
Interesting.
difficult.
Yeah.
It's very difficult, yeah, because I mean, it just out of your stomach, you just give your opinion here. It's like hard to tell that if you have a paper or like on a piece of paper, it's something different.
It's also easier for you since you casted so many events. You remember
I've
them way
casted
better
no
than I.
events. There was one fun fact, guys. There was one Sunday this year where I didn't cast, and
You
that's
cast
where
everything
I had
else.
and
Fucking hell.
and that's where I had my my surgery.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yep.
That's a clap.
Yeah.
So continuing strong.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I cover 2 events each year, and I get Community Person of the Year.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, I mean, Kai might as well get Caster of the Year.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Yeah, I don't mind if I get it or not, but it would be cool.
Yeah, I mean at least you know that you are deserved to be in that discussion, and that is what should mean something, because just by the facts you're in the discussion, and then it's up to each and everyone to have the subjective opinion about should you be first or should you be second or third. So
yeah, that's fine.
Just on facts, you are in that discussion. That is what should mean something, and that is why a nomination shouldn't maybe even mean more than just winning it. So, I mean, I had that discussion with myself last year. Should I value the guy who was cast in most events, or should I cast the guy who I think personally has maybe improved the most, the guy who I feel most community members stand behind? So, for each and every category, there is a solid argument to make.
That's a huge L you have there.
Ready for Trackmania Awards to show the huge L.
Yeah. And maybe I think I have already an idea what I'm gonna do with that cast. I think I don't know, maybe we can like sell it and then go money for charity or something like that. Or like just like donate money then, like that you have an auction and the money goes to charity, something. That could be
Do you
cool,
think anybody who, let's say that if someone pays 100 euros for it, do you think that they will keep it, or do you think they will pay 100 euros and then throw it away?
I think they will keep it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. If I just write my name on it, I don't know.
Yeah, you could write your name on it. You could ask Granadi to write his name on it.
Yeah, I guess then, if you get some signatures, if you meet at the Trackmania or Trackmania people before it.
That would be cool, yeah.
If you get a Riolo signature on it, I'm gonna pay some money for it.
Wow.
That's a tough one there. That's a tough challenge.
To a future cast of the year. Oh, that would also be cool, Kevin, with the making a meme prize and then just put it there. And then why do you have a cast there? Because I'm cast of the year. Haha.
That's your trophy.
Yeah.
But actually, talking about donating stuff away from charity, after Trackmania Grand League's beta season playoffs, there were only 4 people there. They only had 1 match, and they played on the stage. Kappa was winning it, and he was so happy that he forgot his keyboard on the stage. Was already traveled back to France, so I have his keyboard that he won the Trackmania World Championship 2018, the Trackmania Beta season 2019, and I was like, should I just donate it away? Because at the moment I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in.
It's broken again.
It's probably broken, but just to donate that away for charity, and I haven't go to that step, so. Maybe it could be something to give away at the Milan event or something, but at least I have a keyboard that someone won a Trackmania World Championship on, and I don't think too many people have that.
Is that already is that already a new keyboard, or is that still his very, very old one?
I
think it's already a new one, right?
Yeah, but he won those 2 events on it. That's all.
Yeah. True. I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking back to the memories of playing on certain somebody's keyboard. in the Nest Cup, and I was kind of not happy about every single touch of the keyboard I had to do. Yeah,
They're in a world champion class keyboard, only €10 per button the button press. I don't know. There could be some cool ideas with it. Maybe like make some sort of like I don't know, like some memorable things that you can go through, like memory lane, that you have like this jersey from Carl Jr. where he won the World Championship on 2018. Then there's the keyboard from Kappa.
Yeah, we can
the
make a museum.
microphone from Geek where he was casting with, I don't know, this could be cool.
We can
And then
make
some
an
clips.
exhibition about it.
Yeah, an exhibition. That's also was what I need of. Wow, that
Show
would be
and
cool.
tell. Bring one thing to a Trackmania community meetup and say, this is the thing I have today. This is the story behind it.
I have this Paulaner Spezi.
Hello.
That's my story.
Wow.
Oh god, man, this is going into a very funny direction. I like it. Good focus, guys.
It's a podcast. We have no idea where it's ending up.
Yeah,
That's how a podcast should
I actually didn't know how to start it. So
Ken has the most unique thing.
we didn't know how to start it. We don't know how to end it.
Yeah.
Scotty isn't here. How does that work, even, guys? We just continue, right?
We just continue. 24-hour podcast. Hello. Yeah. So
Did somebody ever do that?
There was one question, I think, by Milmi in the chat about the tournament. Will it be like it was like half an hour, a quarter of an hour, or like 3/4 of an hour ago? What style will the tournament be? Is there already an announcement? Will it be a tech competition? Will it be multi-style? Will there be mixed maps? What will it be? Is there anything?
I mean, if we can end it off here, people can, if they have any questions, they can fire it off, and I can answer probably most of them. But the things I'm not going to answer is what I don't know 100%, so I don't look like an idiot. Like I said this, and then I did this. So format at the moment, it's going to be 16 players. It's likely then going to be 1 versus 1 versus 1, like the traditional format, because then you can stretch it out over a weekend instead of Trackmania and Granley for an hour.
Double elimination then, probably, right?
Probably. It's not something I've said. It can be single elimination to put more pressure on the players and to give more of a spectacle, but I don't know that. But at least it's likely going to be 4 people on stage, like we have a traditional LAN event. The maps itself, I cannot say anything about it because I have not put it in stone what should the maps be. But I'm a guy who likes to lean towards now the mixed style maps just to watch it. I like to have the players play on those. So I guess if you want some sort of feeling about it, it's likely going to be leaning towards that direction. But in what extent and to what sort of length, I don't know. An exact date, it's likely going to be first or second weekend of August. 100% is not clear yet. It depends on something out of my control. So I cannot say if it's going to be first or second. Any more questions I have not answered?
I mean, we have some very talented mappers in the new game. I hear there are some very talented backwards.
Send me his contact info. And,
I saw it.
Eric, do me a favor.
Already before I said it, he knew it was coming.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Don't pick his maps.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. He makes good maps, but don't pick a backwards map.
But yeah, I mean, the traditional thing in Trackmania now, at least from an outside perspective, seems like the organizers ask people to build maps instead of like it was in 2018 when everybody could send in maps and have a map request.
It's both, to be honest.
Is it still both? Okay.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of event you're looking at. I think except TMGL, obviously they have their mappers.
Yeah.
But there was only one other event where it was like that. Or was it the big Volvic? They pre-chose the mappers, but for Gamers Assembly,
they picked
Elite
mappers
as well.
Yeah, they picked mappers.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that about Elite, but yeah, it depends. There are still like Gamers Assembly, for example, where you can just send in maps.
Hello.
But yeah, I asked about if there's a plan to pay mappers. What I have in mind at the moment is to pay everybody who helps me, even if they're a mod in the Twitch channel, even if they are doing stats for the events, even if they're commentating the event. It's a chance to give back to the community and to build sort of an ecosystem in Trackmania where it's not only Carl Jr. who get paid. Everybody who helps this machine run and to create this incredible machine should be rewarded in some extent.
And that's the complete right mindset. I think we should really go away from that fact that, we only play first, second, and third, and the rest is not getting any money. There's so many more people involved in that. Mappers are as important as the players, of course.
Map
Without them,
testers are also pretty important.
yeah,
If you're not gonna choose your mappers beforehand, obviously, but if you have an open map pool, then the map testers are also pretty important.
but yeah, that's what I also did in my tournament. Paying everyone who's involved just a little bit. That they're like, it's more of the gesture that counts than more like the amount. And also, I think Cam was saying that to me. He was very, very appreciating that I was just giving him a little bit for just helping me out, and that's why I was funding it for. And that's like a very, very good mindset. Paying the mappers money, then also trophies. They're not quite finished yet, but I'm also going to ship them out for the top 3. Stuff like this, it's that it lives from that. And this ecosystem, maybe someone can be a full-time, maybe cam moderator, or like someone else in someone's event, or a full-time caster, or a full-time organizer behind those things, and not only a player that is sustainable from those events. It's really important to have stuff like that.
And just to make it clear, a lot of people had slided into my DMs. I got like 100 messages after that Wednesday. I was up at 3 a.m. answering all the messages. So if you have any wishes to help with this event, be shameless. Send me a message. Say what you want to help with. Say what sort of ideas you have. Because how I got to a point where I know everybody in Trackmania is to be shameless. I send a DM to Serator, can I get an interview with you?
Yeah.
I send DMs to Trilux, can I get an interview with you? That's how I started with sending a message to Carl Jr. in 2018 or something, like, hey, I'm a new guy trying to do some interviews. Can I interview you? So
That's how it works, yeah.
This is a chance for everybody to help an event. And if this event is a success, then maybe in a sort of a future stepping stone. I cannot promise to make good money of it, but you can say that, hey, I helped this event, it became a success. Can I help your event? So a stepping stone for a Trackmania community, because at the moment, it's not too many people who has made a career out of what they have done in Trackmania. I would only say maybe Koons has created a next step in his career outside of Trackmania. Now, of course, Virtual is buying houses.
Virtual's on a very good way, yeah.
But he's creating a career with Trackmania, not using Trackmania as a stepping stone to the next career, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Because there's only so few that can do what Virtual is doing, but I think more people can do what Koons is doing and use it as a stepping stone. And that is essentially what I, to some extent, now is trying to do, to what I have built a foundation on, and then take the next step, even though it's still in the Trackmania bubble.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And for that reason, let me just do exactly that just in the walkthrough right now. I mean, I already said it a couple of minutes ago. Obviously, I would be very willing to help with whatever mapping purposes. I mean, obviously, let's be honest, it depends what kind of maps you want. I don't only build backwards maps, obviously. I do enjoy building maps that are competitive because I'm competitive minded. But no, just in general, I mean, also I used to be a map tester for TMBL at some point.
Yeah.
Just saying, I can't. I'd also be willing to play. No,
Shorty invited.
No,
Hello.
I mean, I'm gonna compete for it, obviously, but no, I can't cast. But as far as mapping and that kind of stuff goes, I would be definitely more than willing to do that, obviously. So you can consider that my DM. I think you're gonna get a lot of DMs from Waypoint mapping members as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right now,
my DMs.
Right now, Kiesler chatting.
Kiesler's already in the in-game. Kiesler probably in the Waypoint mapping chat already saying, guys, every one of you guys, we have to DM. We have to DM.
But yeah, I mean, I already DM'd you about that. If it's anything you need help about, or if it's casting, whether it's only the qualifier or maybe even the main event, I'm up for help. And I think there are a lot of talented casters who are as interested in that as me. And yeah, it will just be great. And also when it comes to map testing, I would also do that, because I'm also like doing map requests every time. And yeah, it would be great. And I think there are a lot of people around that just helping you. It's not about like capitalizing from that. Of course, you want to be involved in that, but it's more like also helping out a friend in this regard. It's about, it's your event. I'm gonna help you regardless what is going on. Yeah, and that is
why the Trackmania community is as great as it is, because once you get the award for Community Person of the Year, you feel that you have the community behind you. But after this Wednesday, I never felt that I have the community more behind me, because
Yep.
people say, okay, it's a great that what you do. Some people say it's incredible what you do. Let me know if I can help you. Some people say, how can I get a role in that event? So everybody wants to help it. They just want someone to maybe put the head on the sort of chapping stick. And if I fail, I fail, but everybody else succeeds. So you can say you try to help me at least. But
No
what I
risk for them.
just to clarify something, because the summer is going to be so busy, my event is not going to interfere in any way with Serrato Cup or the Trackmania Grand League World Cup. So at least from my point of view, you're not going to have two map packs out at the same time. So Nadeo gets mad that, okay, my event potentially can overshadow a World Championship, or maybe the qualifier is at the same time as the qualifier for Serrato Cup. So I think that is a good thing to have once we finally have so many events going back and forth, that we don't battle against each other.
Yeah, and that's good
important.
to work with each other.
Yeah.
To not like be something like, your event can overshadow my event. It's like the same with everything. And like also with smaller events, that people like try to tailor it around. Sometimes, of course, if you go into a bigger magnitude, it is not possible. You will have more events coming up. But I think that this is a good idea to just say, okay, my event is there, it's not interfering. My map pack is also coming just out after the thing. And that is just a good thing. And I really like that. And a lot of people will be interested in that. And I think this will be a wild qualifier.
Yep.
It's
Hopefully
gonna be
everything
insane, yeah.
runs well, so it's not like technical issues for those. But I'm not going to be the
Hopefully.
one running the qualifier. I'm not going to be the one running the production. Like someone asked earlier about, will this be possible to watch? Of course, this is going to be possible to watch on Twitch. I'm going to hire an own production crew that is going to film everything, so we have a production that is to some extent value of this game, because we all know how
Perfect.
incredible this game is, but the production is still some steps behind. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna pay
definitely.
a good amount of money for just having
Scott is
a
gonna be very
professional.
happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna still find something to rant about, but
Probably.
I still want this to showcase to the world. If enough people is watching, I want them to see Trackmania as something professional, as something serious, and then the pictures that you send out is so important. So
Yep.
question from Kem: how supportive is Nadeo about this? I have not asked Ubisoft Nadeo about being a partner, like financial support, because I guess they have enough with Trackmania Grand League, Trackmania World Cup.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do this without their sort of financial support, because I know I have enough financial supporters in Norway. Uh, but what I have talked to SoftB, I have informed him throughout the process. They are positive about it. I'm allowed to use the game for this event, so they are behind me, even though they are not
Very nice.
directly a partner in this.
That's very important.
Yeah. But what I can hope for, or what I want to work more towards, is that maybe Ubisoft, at sort of their marketing platform or social media platform, can step in August to just a tweet from the main account to say that now it's Saturday. Now the best players are playing in Norway. It shouldn't be too much of an effort for them. So hopefully
Yeah.
that is something I can get into there.
I think one thing I can definitely already tell you is that at least you're definitely gonna get your announcement on the Trackmania Discord.
Yeah,
I think that's for sure.
yeah, that's good.
It's just great to see all the support. Yeah.
Ubisoft Nordic might be interested. Yeah, I hope so. Everybody who can promote it should promote it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
the
have
more the
a
better.
meeting with Visit Norway tomorrow. They are one of the biggest Instagram accounts, one of the biggest platforms in Norway. Just to say that we actually had some gamers in Norway. How surrealistic is that? Now you can follow the event if you want more. So everything that can help will probably help this, but at some point I also need to make a cut for who should be in, who should help me, who should just be as a community member helping out, and not like a direct partner helping me out.
Yeah. But that's like the normal thing, and even though the people will understand it and they will just support it anyway, because you have to make a cut at some point. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
natural.
of course, but at the moment it's really surrealistic to be the only guy behind this. But it's for me at the moment is the best thing because now I can drive the car wherever I want. I can have the meetings whenever I want, say whatever I want. I have no boss who's saying this you can say, this you
No.
cannot say. And the partners I have at the moment have no clue about Trackmania overall, so I can say I invite this guy.
That's so
I
cool,
didn't invite
actually.
that guy, so I can just do whatever I want with this. And then I can be a guy who try to listen to the community, even though I don't say what sort of map styles I should use or I will use. Then people can suggest that you should use this, and I cannot promise to say that is going to be uh, something I will 100% listen to, but I take everything into consideration, and based on everything I take into consideration, I will make up my mind eventually. What channel? I cannot say because I have no agreement there yet, but I don't think I will create my own channel at the moment, at least.
I mean, it would be great to just really have it on the official Trackmania channel.
I mean,
But
that's
then, of
yeah.
course,
Yeah.
do you want
Yeah.
to get it connected with the Trackmania Grand League? But I would say yes, work
I don't
together
mind.
and not against each other, and that's like the whole mindset. It's representing Trackmania, and of course, kind of well, it's representing Trackmania, but also like your mindset behind that. Of course, having a new channel for that would be okay, but I think just do it on the Trackmania channel.
You know, it's kind of like a major in other games, and obviously, in my opinion, it should also then be on the main channel. It just makes sense. There's no reason to split that when it's not like the Trackmania channel is gonna get used in any other way
Yeah.
at that time. You know, like why would you
Yeah.
create your own channel if you don't have to? Of course, if you can't find an agreement with Nadeo about using the channel, then that's obviously, I guess, then you have to
Yep.
create your own or do something else then. But ideally, obviously, also for Nadeo, for the channel themselves, for themselves, it
Yeah.
would just be the best outcome.
Yeah, because this brings exposure. You know, people are interested in that. News pages are just reporting about that this is happening. You know, a lot of outsiders come in also into Trackmania, and then
It just makes it easy as well.
yeah, oh, Trackmania
Easily.
Grand League is starting. You know,
Mm.
Challenger. Let's take a look. Even if only 1% are checking in from maybe the 10,000 people, that those are still a lot of
Yep.
people. Yeah, and that is just win-win in this regard.
Yeah, 100%. But it's not something I've thought about at the moment because, again, like I said in the start about
You're
this
not so
sort of
far
topic,
already.
is that everything I work on is finalizing the deals about who should be the official partners, who should found this. And I want partners that is not only supporting me in 2022, but I can already say that
Sorry.
it's going to support me in 2024. Because one of the partners is the European Capital of Culture that is taking place in 2024. And they say that if this is a success, we want to make it bigger in 2023. We want to make it even bigger in 2024. So I already have a partner that thinks long term, but I want the other partners also to think long term. So it's not only like Eirik Holdal hosted something in 2022, and then we need to wait 16 years for another event like that to pop up.
Yeah.
I want to use this
Yep.
event as a stepping stone for the next event, and then the
That's
next event,
bullish.
and then the next event.
You
Yeah.
want to establish that.
Yeah,
That's
I want to.
a
I
good
want to
thing.
do
Yeah.
this full time. That is
Yeah.
what I have an education in. That is what I have a passion in. I don't want to be a Trackmania journalist for the rest of my life. I don't want to write 4,000 tweets for the rest of my life. I want to host
Yeah,
stuff. I
please.
want to host big stuff. But nobody else is doing the Trackmania journalistic stuff. So someone help me out and do that.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna do the journalist and the casting stuff then full
Perfect.
time.
Perfect.
I mean, if everything works out, you know, I'm just gonna throw my study, being a full-time
I
caster.
mean, you know, it
and
fits
to
well.
be a
You know,
journalist.
it fits
I think
with
that's
casting.
it fits very well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Casting, interviews. You're already doing a podcast. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really fitting. I have a lot of knowledge about the game. Maybe I'm one of the most knowledgeable people right now that like are in the game, but it's just very cool, very, very hyped, and you know everyone will come. And also hope to see this guy in the chat. Yeah, Jakob, that's he, Roland. Yeah, then I'm gonna meet him there again. Yeah.
How do you start to be a Trackmania journalist this day?
You
Just like I
start.
did, just say, hey, can I do an interview? And they will say yes, because the players say yes to pretty much
Yeah.
anything you ask them.
Just drive to every single LAN party, LAN event, and then just ask
LAN
the
party.
players when they have time. Just
Yeah.
I mean, on
that's the
Gamers
next step,
Assembly, you pretty much interviewed almost everyone. I think.
Yeah, I mean, not
I mean,
everybody,
but
also
as many
almost
people as
30.
possible,
Yeah,
obviously.
that was crazy.
Oh man, I'm very hyped now. Before the podcast, it was like, yeah, let's talk about that. But I'm not like, yeah,
Yeah,
let's
actually,
go.
it's so true. It's nice to know that it's nice to know that it's even obviously it already was big, but the more you talk about it, the better it basically gets, right?
Yeah.
And it's really nice to also the inside stuff of it. Just knowing that you already have like a partner that's also thinking long term and that hopefully things can continue that way. That's nice to hear, and
Yeah.
that's obviously what we all want to happen.
Yeah, even though I now take a big risk going publicly with it, because I still have the opportunity to, or there's still a possibility of saying that, okay, I failed, I need to cancel it because some partners pull out, something else comes up. Uh, but I go publicly with it because I 100% believe that it will happen in 2022. I just need to get the info out there, and not mainly to the Trackmania community, because the Trackmania community picks out info, at least from my experience, pretty fast. But I
Yeah.
want the public here in northern Norway to have this sort of machine going that, okay, I need to, what is esport, what do I need to read about, maybe the youth here who is 16 years old wants to start to play Trackmania, so one's called junior visit, they can have a 1 versus 1 against him. So
Yeah.
it's just to have that ball rolling, and that is why I presented it in front of local and national companies instead of going on announcement on a Trackmania channel or something.
Yeah. Also, you also have to say. I mean, you basically only got positive feedback, and especially even though, of course, there's always the risk of a partner pulling out or something like that. But just seeing that everyone seems to be positive about it is obviously also helping to solidify the partner's opinion about it.
Yep.
Like having the public also think, yeah, this is gonna be great. Obviously, tells them, oh yeah, it's probably a good decision then. It would be something else. It would be controversial, Then it would be But looking at it from this way, everyone is. The more you tell people about it, the more people are happy about it. So why would anyone ever think, "Oh, now that I think about it a second time, maybe
Yeah.
I'm not going to support it"?
I mean, it's a business decision to go publicly with it again, like you said,
Yes.
because then the partners who is involved say that, okay, now I know that it's going to happen, and then the partners who is sitting on the fence know that, okay, the train is now going. Should I be in or should I be out? And like I
Yep.
said to the companies there, that if you are in now, it's going to be cheaper to be in 2022 than in 2023, because in 2023 I know how much numbers this pool, I know how much money I could potentially make on this. So that is the selling point to them. And again, to go publicly with it says that now is the chance. It's not going to be an opportunity, at
No,
least
never.
for
Yeah.
local communities, because there is nobody else caring about Trackmania here besides myself. So this is the chance they have.
True, actually. I mean,
True.
nobody's going to take away your job, right?
Exactly.
Either you do it or nobody does it.
That's what I
Imagine
said.
someone from you like some local person comes, yeah, dude, I'm this guy, and you're like, oh, I messed with the wrong person. But nah, this is not gonna happen. And as you said, you have to sell yourself, and that's very important that you like try to put them on the train, or that they're gonna go on the train. Very good and important thing, and that really shows that you have an understanding how to like approach those people and to also convince them from your concept. Also with the thing that you already invited the arguably best player out there, and that he is supporting your tournament. Those things, like all those small things, they really stack up that it's looking good to become a success. But of course, everything can still happen, from the production failure, that maybe a power outage is there or anything like that, from I don't know, any other things.
To COVID
Snowstorm.
Yeah,
cancel it.
you never know.
I don't know. Like so many things can happen.
Cam asked how hard it was to convince anybody, since I don't have any concrete evidence. And what numbers I use. I mean, I just simply use my own Twitter account as an example, because they have this visit page here that is to promote the local area, and they have reached 2 million people in 2020. I checked my Twitter account. I believe I reached 11 million people in 2020 on my Twitter. So I said that, okay, this is the numbers I have. I have 3,000 followers. Imagine if I invite someone with 100,000 followers and they are here to experience stuff. So to have the partners I have on board now, I can say that they were positive right away once I contacted them. They were like, we understand what esport is. We want to help you. or they say that we don't understand what esport is, but we understand that it's big for the upcoming generation, and that this is a unique opportunity for our local community. So, and I never had like a debate that, okay, you need to be in, or they said no and I didn't give up. Everybody has been positive right away, because either I'm good at explanation or explaining why they should be in, or they are generally companies or partners that are trying to help people establish something. So that is also why I have so many, so much motivation for this, because I only met positive people. Yeah, I'm a salesman. That is basically what I do every day now, is trying to sell my own event.
Actually, would this kind of thing work in Germany, Shorty?
I'm
Everything will
wondering. I
Was
also
thinking
like
the same,
because
actually.
I completely I know, I perfectly understand how, I think at least I do understand how it like started in a way,
Yep.
like the reason why people were like happy about you with that idea, because obviously they are you're basically providing them exactly what they want as well, right? Because
Yep.
they want to like more recognition. The thing is, I'm wondering, within Germany you definitely would probably have like people or stuff where they also want more recognition, but would Germany be willing to understand, oh yeah, esports is actually a big thing?
Or would they
And
trust someone who is like doing something
the trust is difficult. Yeah, I mean, yeah, of
foreign
course.
for them? Because they're like, okay, we don't have an idea about this esport thing, but we know that this is kind of the future, and you have the numbers and the evidence. That's what they're trying. They don't understand it. Of course, they kind of will, but in Germany would be like, no, esports. I don't know this thing.
I think there's
I'm
a
old
trend
and blah.
there. I think it's definitely. I mean, also
Maybe I
in
don't know though.
general. I mean, the only way to find out is to try.
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
try.
yeah,
Hello.
one of the partners I have involved is he is at least 60 years old. He started joining this trend of Norway started to produce salmon in 1970, I believe. He was one of the guys who started it, and that is how he has built off his fortune. He don't really know what esport is, and he was clear about it. I don't know what it is, but if you sell it to them that this is important for the next generation, a generation that is sort of impossible for them to reach, because the attention span for them is 5 seconds, they don't care, or they care. And if you show them something they care about, like esport, then you have a potential to also show that, okay, this is my partner, this is a potential future job. If you want to work in an industry like producing salmon that is just growing and growing, this is a chance to sell it in. So I try at least my best to explain, even there is no direct link between gaming and producing salmon, there is a direct link between the audience that both of us either have or want. So if you just try in Germany, I think it's the same mentality that, okay,
probably,
who am I talking to? What do they want? What do I have? Essentially. And
I mean, you're
what
basically
you
the
have in
biggest
esport
proof.
is youth. You have a young audience. Everybody wants a young audience.
Yeah. It's so true. Just looking at your event is basically the biggest proof for exactly that it's just possible. Just look at, we also have, we have Trilux in Germany right now. We have Granadi, we have Massa. We definitely have the people to also like, sell ourselves. It's not only that the game is big in France or something like that. It's not only that the youth cares about it, but it's even like that the German youth probably also cares big numbers about it. So it's definitely something that's, it's definitely something that is doable.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen it with the German Trackmania Cup. I mean, I was also
even though French people hosted it.
But still, I was kind of the ambassador behind that, and I also had no clue that a person like Turlux would be interested in that. But why not ask him? Why not like present him the tournament? And if he likes it, then you get a good tournament, and we get a good cast. It's a win-win situation for both parties.
Yeah,
and that's of course something else because he's into the game. But without not trying it out, without not asking people, it will not work out. And I really like that. And I think with that, Trackmania has a bright future also with your like incredible mindset, Eirik. Like that is just great understanding also on like how you like sell yourself and what your intention is behind the game. I mean, almost everyone has that intention, but that is a huge, yeah, like just thank you from my side by just trying to be involved as much as that. It's really cool, and yeah, I really appreciate your work. Just not only as a journalist, but also as a person who is passionate about the game, even though you don't play it at all.
I got one of the latest interview I did. The journalist was like, "Yeah, by the way, how much do you play?" I was like, "Oh, let's not get into that because the last 2 years is, if I say 50 hours of playing Trackmania in the last 24 months, I would say that's too much. So I don't play Trackmania. I just enjoy Trackmania. But again, if you have an idea, I think now is the time to do it because."
Yeah.
Even though Trackmania is still small, I think you can see in the example of virtual how big it can get. And if we wait, who maybe have the best ideas in 3 years, maybe in 3 years we have established and like generic organizers that is just hosting events to get a revenue. But if we
Yep.
now step in and show, okay, this is my idea, this is my event, then it's more likely that those generic organizers come in and say, okay, we like your idea, we're gonna fund it, but it's still the foundation that you built up upon. So you can then run it with their help instead of trying to join them after they themselves establish. So if you have anything you want to do in Trackmania, now is the time, because in 3 years I think it's too late. In
Yeah.
2 years it's too late. Maybe even in 12 months it's too late to start something.
I think
Yeah,
it's too late
very
to
true.
start it in 2 years. Next
Yep.
year is the decisive year for Trackmania to see what direction the game will go. I mean, we have seen a casual approach this year, going more into a professional way now, also with LAN events returning. I was talking about that already, but it will be the year next year. Of course, the game branching out now the Nordic countries tremendously with virtual, with this event that he has hosted as well with with Ubisoft. Nordic, I think it's called Nordic Ubisoft.
Ubisoft Nordic,
Ubisoft Nordic
or Nordic Championship.
Yeah, but now you're hosting an event as well. Then we see a lot of developments also in the Asian scene, but it's like important to just get one thing out and then just do the domino effect. And I think this can also work out in Trackmania. 2 hours of podcast.
Let me state something. Without virtual, I don't think this would have been possible, because then I can show that someone else in Norway has done something incredible. And even just saying that, okay, there's a potential that virtual can come here, then they're like, damn, there is someone from Norway maybe
And
coming
he
here
will
will speak. So without like the likes of virtual, I don't think I would be around. Without the likes of Serrator, I don't think I would be around. So it just shows that how much one guy could mean to someone, and then to someone say that maybe I mean something to someone, but that is a direct consequence of someone else meaning something to me. So it's a fragile environment, but I think at the moment it's starting to get stronger and stronger, that we maybe in the future hopefully don't rely so much on single people, because at the moment Trackmania relies a lot upon single people. But again, Riolo was having the biggest cheating scandal of all games, but we still came out of it, and maybe came out of it stronger, even though a guy who I would say was the most respected guy in the community now didn't deserve that title.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's very fragile, but even that we picked up quite well. I think you were mentioning a good point that the community is still very fragile. We have the leading person as virtual, but there's like some other like maybe some other branches that have to go out of that. But I think this will be the decisive year next year. Yeah, that will just be the case there. So I will be traveling, and I'm looking forward to that.
Welcome. What I can say, someone asked about accommodation, how are you going to sleep here? If you just realize that we are 6,000 people here, so there is not a lot of places to sleep. So again, try to be early as possible. I will try to do my best by just maybe booking schools where you can sleep at least inside on mattresses, and you can have fun there. So even though you don't want to pay for a weekend of hotel, you at least have somewhere to sleep without sleeping in a garden. But information about that will of course come, because I want everybody to take part of it, and even from home or online, whatever. Kai, you have a date.
Okay, I already have my partner in crime. We just gonna, like, you're gonna sleep 1 hour, I'm gonna sleep 1 hour, you're gonna sleep, I'm gonna sleep, and then Hello.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
But
it was great to be back. I guess we should sort of run it up. I don't think you normally do 2-hour podcasts. So
Usually we don't.
I wanted to start streaming 5 minutes ago, so
yeah, perfect.
You already
It's
are
great.
streaming. I don't see any issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. I mean, the talk was very good also for me. Like, I have a little bit of a fever by the looks of it. I'm a bit
Oh.
dizzy. But just thank you so much, Eirik, for joining, really. I mean, Shorty was saying it at the start. I'm gonna say it at the end here. Just great to have a person like you around that is the community person. Yeah, is also not that involved into Trackmania because there are other things, but you're still around, and that is very good to see because, you know, there was this thing like after the Holdal Awards, Eirik is gonna quit 2021, right? You know, that was...
I was not far away from quitting, I can
Yeah.
say that. I was 2 days away
That's
from
the
quitting Trackmania.
Yeah.
But then I came up with this idea. So that's why I'm sticking around.
Same for me, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I was also about to quit streaming and stuff, and then everything happened. I remember 31st of January, I streamed for 2 views, and then I kind of created a schedule and everything blew up with matchmaking, and that's why I'm still around here. God damn, I don't get away from Trackmania.
It's horrible, right? This game.
13 years almost.
It just doesn't leave you alone.
No, 30. Yeah. Oh my god, 13 years almost.
But I can
Jesus.
only say thanks for being invited back. I know that normally this is a sort of group of people talking together because then you can debate together because then Shorty doesn't get offended if Turbo disagrees with him. And that was the foundation behind trying to not only have the Trackmania podcast where it's every time there's a new guy, but have a solid group together discussing it. So it's only good to be back and to have the honor of actually being a guest or replacing someone. And hopefully this didn't turn in too much into a Q&A or too much into let's appreciate what Eirik Holdal is doing, because it's more about just debating Trackmania, which we all care so much about, because the funniest thing I can do is debate Trackmania, even though it doesn't look like it anymore on my YouTube account. Last year I had 300 videos, this year I have less than 100, because now I guess everybody knows what I have been working on back, so I haven't had the time to do it. So but I watched every single one of these podcasts, even maybe not live, but I really enjoy just listening to Trackmania. And I think everybody is enjoying listening to Trackmania because Shorty said it's difficult to get away from Trackmania, even though you still get like pulled back. And this is one of the things that maybe makes me stick around. So just listening into it. So hopefully you will host a Trackmania award, so I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
We will see about that, I think. But,
Almost getting emotional here. You know, 12 and a half years, that is more than half of my life. And, you know, it's incredible. And the game is just really dragging you back. But I think we're going to do something like an unofficial award show, just going through the awards and just mentioning our picks there. I think that's what we definitely going to do. But not sure if we're going to do like a voting system and stuff like that. But it's not like that we were praising you too much. But... you know, at the end of the day, we don't hear too much from you. So we also want to know, what is this guy doing? You know, what did he do in the past? What is leading up to that point with all the announcements and stuff that Shorty was also mentioning at the beginning?
9 months of teasing. So I understand why people have questions.
Let's be honest, the time was just perfect, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, it was. I'm so happy that it worked out and that that Paul is not here today. No, all good. Maybe you can join in the future again if you have the time, of course. And also thank you for taking 2 hours of your valuable time and joining
another
us.
day of meetings, so I have 3 meetings tomorrow with potential sponsors. So maybe I can announce something. Maybe next time I'm back with announcing that this guy is a partner. That could be something. So
that would be great, yeah.
And I would love to be back once Paul is around, because he is the guy who is the most ranting guy I know, and he's gonna rant about my event. So I'm just looking forward to someone ranting about my event. So
he's gonna do that at some point, for sure.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
I know Eirik. I slept in bed with Eirik, but I didn't get invited to his event. Bullshit. That is gonna be like him.
So you're saying you're not gonna invite him?
Not as a player, at least, because he is not a fucking player anymore.
Yeah, well, if you would invite him as a player, I think you can just stop whatever you're trying to do.
But yeah, I think it is time to make a cut here. Also, Erwin behind.
What is the topic for next week? You already know. Is it going to be a Trackmania Grand League again, or anything else coming up?
Well, I mean,
because it's natural that it's Trackmania Grand League, but I assume you have some audience that doesn't really care as much about Trackmania Grand League as us do. But I enjoy Trackmania Grand League the most to listen to because that is one of the events I follow.
It's obviously going to be a lot about Trackmania Grand League, maybe about TMFL because TMFL is probably going to end, right?
Yeah, TMFL is going to end, true.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk a lot about TMFL at all during the season, I think.
Yeah, there were some issues, but also some good things, and yeah, maybe, yeah, I mean, we can talk about Trackmania Grand League, but maybe also like to get Paul to know what happened today, you know, on the podcast, you know, just do a little bit of a recap because we have to digest the thing, but maybe also like do some community questions, yeah?
Yeah, because how many people are actually sending in suggestions? Because I remember when I said, send in a suggestion every time, or what topics you want, I think one guy sent a question one time too, so... I think people should know that if they want something to be debated, I think you guys are really flexible about. Okay, we're gonna bring that up.
At least at least in the live chat, people are always asking questions. I think it's basically a weekly occurrence, so we don't really get suggestions before or anything like that. But during the podcast, there are a lot of questions usually.
But yeah, maybe also I think Trackmania Grand League will be a good thing because step 6, only 2 more steps to go, and who's gonna make it into playoffs and stuff like that.
Imagine if Carl Jr. doesn't make it. Imagine.
Wow.
I mean, the possibility is there. Let's be honest.
I mean, you know, I think a player like Binks, you need to talk about this guy. You need to talk about a lot of other players that have performed or not performed. And it will not be easier for Carl Jr. to qualify. Of course he can, but eventually it's the multiplier. And yeah, you know, so he needs 3 good steps.
But yeah, cut it off because I just continue to talk. I like too much talking.
So. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. It was today, of course, a different host, me. It's a bit weird for me, but I tried my best. And thank you, Eirik, for joining, as well as you, Shorty, for taking part in this very nice discussion. I think that was one of the best podcasts that we've ever had.
It was really nice.
Because Scotty was not here. No, of course, I'm only joking. Thank you so much also for... Erwin behind the scenes. Make sure to also check out esac.gg. So thank you so much for hosting the podcast, and thank you guys for watching it. I will see you guys next week for the next episode, or also for the YouTubers. I'll see you on Wednesday, or also on Spotify, because the podcast is also on Spotify and Apple Music. Yeah, so that is also awesome news. But yeah, good night, everyone, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.